All right, stunners, we're going to continue on with Changeling. The last time we left off, we were granted a chapter title that said Stolen Kiss. And I was like, what? Excuse me, Stolen Kiss? Who's stealing a kiss? Who's kissing who? Why are we stealing kisses? Is Marc finally unraveling? Is his tsundere ways finally crumbling at our feet? Is he finally admitting that he's desperately in love with us? I certainly hope so. And I couldn't wait, y'all. I couldn't wait to find out what's gonna happen next. So I was like, you know what we have to do on Wednesday? We have to just Changeling. We have to find out. We have to find out. I cannot wait any longer. All right, y'all. Why don't we go ahead and begin our story for today with Changeling? Yes. I was dreaming about singing again. At first, I thought it was the same dream, and I was sleepwalking like all the previous nights, but it felt different somehow. It was dark, but not the same enveloping, suffocating darkness. It was warm, and there were spots of light dancing all around me. Even though I was aware that I was dreaming, I didn't have the same feeling of my body being controlled by an outside force. This felt more like watching someone else's memory on an old television screen. Darkness gave way to light. And I realized I knew this place. The place in my dream. It was in the woods, somewhere near our old house. Is that us? Is that MC? What? She has a similar face to MC, but that's it. Is that the Changeling? Is that Faye version of MC? Wow, she's really stunning. Like gorgeous. Wow. Wow. I didn't know why I was there, or rather, why the me in my dream was there. Because I felt her as a distinctly separate entity from me, but she was so relieved somehow. So glad to be away from something. I wasn't sure what she was glad to be away from. But I was surprised by an intense feeling of what was it? What was it? Longing. Surrounded by the little lights and the familiar singing, all she wanted in that moment was to go home. There was a panicked yell, and everything screeched to a halt. In the distance was a familiar face, half obscured by trees and foliage. Spencer. I woke up with a start and lay staring up at the ceiling in my bedroom, trying to catch my breath. That had been an odd dream. I struggled to remember the details, but it was already fading, except that feeling of homesickness and seeing Spencer there at the end. I shivered and groped around in the dark for my comforter, which I'd apparently thrown off at some point. When I couldn't find it, I sat up and squinted blearily around the room. My blankets were strewn on the floor in a conspicuous trail leading toward the door. Okay. I swung my feet over the edge of the bed and stood, wincing the moment I put pressure on my feet. What? Take a drink, y'all. We said, what? I sat and pulled one foot onto my lap, inspecting it. Nothing looked amiss, but it felt weirdly tingly and warm to the touch. I glanced toward the door and the trail of bedding again. Was her feet dirty? It just was tingly? That's suspicious. Suspicious. I was wondering if her foot was dirty because maybe she was running around in the woods or something, you know, with no shoes on. It's possible. The only thing I could think was that I tried to escape, realized I couldn't, and had returned to bed. Oh yeah, she put that bane or that sage or whatever by the door so she would get startled, or it would hurt her, so she couldn't escape the room. That whatever that thing was at the door that our bestie gave us, it was fairy bane or something. Still, my feet really hurt. She probably stepped on it. That's probably what happened. How hard did I try to get across the barrier if I left my feet in this state? Chewing my lip worriedly, I got up again and went to retrieve my blankets. I glanced at my clock. Told me it was just past 1 in the morning. I was hoping I could get back to sleep so I wouldn't be a zombie when Mom came to wake me up. Real. You know, a lot of times I'm going to bed at 1 in the morning. Because I'm a night owl and I don't like going to bed. I don't like going to bed and I don't like waking up in the morning. Yep. It's terrible. It's the bane of my existence. I gathered my blankets in a ball and muttered to myself about having to make my bed again at 1 in the morning. Maybe I should just start strapping myself down. I paused when I heard something odd. What was that? Still standing in the middle of my room, with my arms full of messed up bedding, I listened carefully. There it is again! What even is that? It was a strange sound, sort of squishing and wet. Gross! Did someone leave something dripping? I didn't really sound like a dripping faucet, though. That's not what it sounded like. Ugh, please tell me that stupid brownie isn't up to something weird again. It could be that, maybe, but it's probably something worse. It's probably something scary. Or it's our stupid little brother. I dropped the blankets on my bed and crept to the bathroom. I didn't usually bother using the herbs across the bathroom door, since the only way out through there was through Spencer's room. And if I ever even tried that, he'd freak out and inevitably wake me up. Pushing the door open, I glanced in the bathroom. There didn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary in there. When I stepped inside, the cold tile felt nice against my sore feet. I bet it did. You know what? Whenever I'm having a hot flash and my feet are super hot and my entire body is hot, it's really nice to just like barefoot step on cold floor, you know? If it's snowing outside, just like walk outside in the snow and just soak in the cold. It's the best ever. Real. But I kind of have a feeling that MC's a little too young for perimenopause. Pfft, hot flashes. The faucet was dry, but I twisted the knobs away just to be sure. I heard the noise again and jerked my head towards Spencer's side. She's like turning the knob and listening, trying to find out what's that squelchy wet sound. This is not going to be good, Milky. It's not going to be good at all. Something terrible is going to happen, I can tell. That came from Spencer's room. Oh God. Oh God! It must be Spencer. If that brownie was in there doing something to his homework again, so help me. Girl, I bet it's not the brownie. that thing is like harmless, you know? For the most part, it's harmless. This, y'all listen, it's gonna be something messed up. I can tell. I gently pushed the door open and peeked inside. At first, I didn't really notice anything strange. A vague lump was sprawled in his bed. He was still asleep. It was super cold, though. Is his window open again? Huh. I was debating sneaking in and closing it when the shadows near his bed just shifted. Hi, Snack Silver Skill. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for the lurky turkey. So he should be sleeping, but what's going on with these shadow monsters? Oh, you hope my day is amazing. It has been a good day so far, you know, not too many complaints. Busy. But you know what? Good. Especially now that we're streaming. Now it's really good. What the? Take a drink, y'all. MC just said, what the? MC will keep us well hydrated today. Suddenly, a thin black shape zipped toward the window and vanished between the curtains. Without thinking, I threw the door wide open and rushed into the room, but it was gone. I stared at the gap between the curtains where it had gone, frowning. What was that? The brownie? It had seemed bigger, but I couldn't say for sure. I'd only ever seen the brownie when it was toddling along, seemingly fine with being seen. I had never caught it in the act of terrorizing my brother. Girl, it's probably not the brownie. Maybe I startled it. I rubbed my eyes and I looked around. Aside from the window, there was nothing out of place, and Spencer, weirdly enough, was still fast asleep. I tiptoed to his bedside. Yep. Still sleeping like a log. That was weird, though. I quietly looked around the head of his bed, where I'd seen that shadow, but of course, there was nothing there. Definitely nothing that looked like a prank in progress. I cast another look at Spencer, surprised he hadn't woken up yet. He was usually such a light sleeper. Hello there, Channel Emre. Hi. 5 a.m. is a battle cry. Please tell me it's not 5 a.m. for you. That's the worst. Milky, you think he's dead? Oh God, no. No, he can't be dead. I think maybe it's just a spell. Maybe someone put a sleeping spell on him and he's knocked out hard. You know? You know? Maybe. He looked so much younger in his sleep. I suppose that all people looked that way. I reached toward him, almost unconsciously, but pulled my hand away when I realized what I was doing. Best to not wake him up. He had a lot to deal with in the past few days, and I doubt he'd take well to me being in his room. I did shut the window, though, before making my escape. I left his door to the bathroom open a crack, and mine open all the way just in case. Maybe if the brownie was caught in the act, it would give up and leave him alone for one night. See how the brownie is like this cute little like pixie fairy thing? You know, it's like a little tiny like elf thing. It's like very floral looking, you know, has leaves and stuff, patterns on it, and it's cute, you know, but it's harmless. It's harmless. It doesn't like sneak around like a shadow in the night making squelching noises. The brownie doesn't do that. When has the brownie ever done that? Girl is trying to make up some kind of excuse for what this thing could possibly be. Girl, it's gonna be something terrible. It's gonna be something horrible. We're all gonna be screaming. Maybe. Morning came way too soon. When the alarm didn't wake me up, my mom's familiar call to wake up cut right through sleep and dragged me relentlessly into the world of waking. I lay in bed, bundled into my blankets for a long moment, wishing I could just stay put and sleep in. Yeah, it is a gross word. Squelch, moist, that, and lard are probably some of the grossest words out there. Right? All of those words. Gross, disgusting, real. Mom called again, and I finally dragged myself out of my blankets. I was so looking forward to a time when I could plan my day around me hating mornings. You know, I am the same way, girl. I hate mornings. I hate waking up in the morning. Can I just sleep until 11 every day and then stay up till like 2 in the morning every night? That would be my ideal. 11 to 2. That would be perfect. I would love that. I would thrive. But you know what? The world doesn't work that way, you know? It doesn't lend to my desired schedule. How many times can Esh say wake in a single sentence? 3, apparently. Oh, I didn't even notice. We hate mornings. Still rubbing my eyes, I staggered to the bathroom to wash my face and brush my teeth. I pushed the door open, surprised to come face to face with Spencer. Well, not really face to face. He was in front of the sink brushing his teeth and looked every bit as zombie that I felt. His face does kind of look rather zombie-ish right there. He's like, ugh. Neither of us are morning people, apparently. I eyed him warily from my door. He looked really tired. Are you okay? Not much of a response, but at least he hadn't bitten my head off. Things were still tense between us, but after he'd come home from the library, he seemed somehow more tolerant of my existence. The air hadn't really been cleared, but maybe just acknowledging the dark cloud and why it was there made it easier to tolerate. I decided to leave him there to finish up in the bathroom while I went to pick up clothes out of my closet. Yes, and brush my hair. Can you read today? Apparently not. I had managed to mostly wake myself by the time I finally came out of my room. My feet were feeling better than they had been last night, but it was still worrying that I had apparently been that determined to exit my room. He didn't die, Milky. He's alive. He's right there. Unless it's some kind of copy, you know? Or if he's been body snatched by an alien. That could happen. I wonder if I should set up some kind of recording device. I didn't want to overreact, but it felt a little like it was getting out of hand. We'd managed to contain me, but it hadn't solved the problem, and every other theory aside, the sleepwalking was still a mystery. I was becoming more convinced it wasn't just a sleep disorder, though. I wasn't sure if that was comforting or not. One thing was certain. I was really glad I'd thought to start sprinkling some of those herbs on the windowsill. Yep, the fairy bane. If I wanted to leave that badly at night, I would not be shocked if I tried to use the window at some point. Real. And leaping out a second-story window in the middle of the night just did not seem like it would end well for me. I agree, girl, don't do that. But the real question is where I want to go so badly. Though I didn't know why I defaulted to thinking I wanted to go somewhere, maybe I was just acting out my dreams, like that one last night. I didn't remember it at all, but I did remember that stark feeling of longing, almost like homesickness. I stopped short, an unpleasant feeling of realization creeping up on me. Maybe I'm sneaking out at night because I subconsciously want to get home. But that would mean that this wasn't my home. I pushed that thought away and snatched the half-empty glass jar off my bedside table. I'd just go get my coffee and pretend that thought hadn't started to occur to me. I was halfway through dispelling my herb barrier when Spencer stepped into the hallway from his room and paused to watch me. "Don't stand there staring at us like that. How rude." I ignored him. Now that he knew what was going on, there was really no reason to hide it anymore, was there? "What are you doing? I saw you doing that yesterday, too." "I've been doing it every day since last week." "What's in that jar?" "In this one? Bluebells and some other stuff. I don't know what all the herbs are. They dispel the barrier I put up last night, allowing me to safely leave my room." "Barrier? How can that be a barrier?" "I don't know the details of how it works, other than that it has something to do with the plants reacting negatively when exposed to fey magic or something. It was Allie's idea." I corked the little jar and set it on the shelf just inside my room. "After I told Allie about my sleepwalking, she had someone make me something that would help keep me inside. But since I do need to be able to leave my room each morning, I use this one to neutralize the other one." "Does it actually work?" "You should really know. I haven't left the house recently. You should already know that. Not since I started using this. So I guess it does." I didn't know why, but it irritated me. His questions, his incredulity. It shouldn't. I'd felt the same way about it all at first. He was standing there, looking so bewildered and worried. I felt the same way, and yet here I was, expected to calmly explain it all to someone who was convinced I didn't belong here. "You really, truly don't know what's going on with you, do you?" I gave him an exasperated look. "No, I don't. I've been saying that this whole time." Ugh! Real. He doesn't listen. He doesn't believe us, I suppose. Let's see, you're not the only one confused by all this, or I wish you'd just believe me. Well, I wish you'd just believe me. I know it's hard, but it's hard for me to believe your story too, but at least I'm trying. I'm also trying, you know? Oh, this is what trying looks like? Given what I saw back then, it's hard to believe you don't know what's going on. Even if I was some sort of imposter, what reason would I even have to lie to you for such a long time? Even if I am a changeling, why would I keep hanging around here when I know you're suspicious of me? I don't know. I don't know. Neither do I. I left him there and started down to the kitchen alone. Rue! I sighed and looked back at him. Yeah. I want to believe you. I really do. Yeah. I settled against the table with a cup of coffee just as Spencer was coming downstairs. Mom was nowhere in sight at the moment. By the way, I looked up at him, surprised that once again he'd spoken to me first. This is quite the change in little twin brother, because he's usually either ignoring us or he's being a complete and utter asshole to us. Keys? Check the front cabinet. That seems to be the favorite spot. Spencer just sighed. I don't suppose we can find a way to make it stop doing that. The one bright spot so far? He'd stopped blaming me for taking his stuff. He still couldn't see the brownie, but he'd accepted that it was there. Over the weekend, I'd been able to somewhat explain what it was and my theory for why it was angry at him. Yeah, the brownie's been messing with him, and he had no idea what was going on. The little brownie fairy thing. I wasn't sure, but I thought it might be related to him kicking over the mushrooms on the day we'd moved in. Probably. I can try to look into it today. I'm pretty sure it's probably something simple. I can look into it myself. You don't have to. I don't mind. Maybe spending some time on something else for a while will help me clear my head. Maybe I just need to give myself a break so I can have a fresh perspective on everything else. Besides, that little cretin needed to be dealt with. The brownie has a grudge. It does. Bribe it with cookies. Oh. Apparently last night it had been up to something in Spencer's room. That's what you think, girl. You think it was the brownie. I doubt it. I don't think it was whatever was there last night was making squelching noises, okay? The brownie doesn't sound like that. Even if Spencer wasn't blaming me anymore, pranks were still an annoyance. It's so annoying. It would be better for everyone if we could figure out how to appease it and just move on. One less thing for us to worry about. Spencer left to go hunt down the keys and I finished my coffee. I went to rinse the mug just as Spencer returned, with Mom on his heels. But you look really tired. I hope you aren't having a relapse. I'm fine. I just had weird dreams is all. Yeah, those dark circles under his eyes were bound to catch her attention. She was a hawk when it came to noticing that kind of thing, but it was oddly unobservant when it came to her kids sneaking out at night and apparently having magic abilities. Mom, are you just turning a blind eye or do you really not notice these things? Weird. In any case, Spencer had been sound asleep when I was in his room last night, to the point that he hadn't been aware I was even there. It was strange he was so tired. Then again, I knew how exhausting weird dreams could be. Something's up with that, y'all. Something is up with that. Of course, mine tended to involve midnight rambles through the woods as well, so whatever. It felt like we both just needed a vacation. And that thought just made me feel sort of weirdly old. You feel old, girl. You feel old, Noru. I'm worried about you driving to school alone. You look like you'd fall asleep at the wheel. And heaven forbid if anything actually happened like that. It'd be the end of everything. I would fall apart. I love you, my darling children, my son and my daughter. And if anything happened to you, I couldn't ever forgive myself. And listen, I think I know that something is going on with Rue and with you two. Something is going on in this house. I have to know it, but I must be turning a blind eye for a reason. What could I possibly be hiding? As a mom, I should know something, but why am I pretending like I know nothing? That's what Mom is thinking right now. Nora and Spencer equal old. I'm not that tired. Rue, is Allie driving you this morning, or do you think you can drive Spencer? Ugh, Allie. Things had been so awkward since that conversation in the library. I still needed some time to get my thoughts straight after that. The idea she'd even consider that I wasn't, well, me. MC does not want to admit, does not want to concede, does not want to consider the possibility that she is in fact a changeling, whether that be a changeling fae who swapped places with her when she was a baby or an adult. You know, she doesn't want to admit it. She doesn't want to even think about it. Listen, Rue, Noru, I'm real sorry to tell you, but the title of this game, it's called Changeling. It's called Changeling Girl. Yep, I hate to break it to ya. Yeah. I think we all know what you are. You're the last one to figure it out. You're literally the last one to know. It felt like a betrayal. I've been battling with feeling I might be overreacting, along with feeling like maybe she should stop to consider my position a little more. Holly was supposed to drive me today, but I can always text her. She hasn't left yet, most likely. Would you? I don't need Rue to drive me. I don't want her to drive me. Her driving is terrifying. But at least it would wake you up, right? Good one, girl. He gave me a sour look. For the entire 10 seconds it takes you to drive us off into a ditch. I've never actually wrecked the car, you know. But it's probably hard to sleep when you're clutching the armrest, yelling, "You're not driving today. You're no fun." We both stopped and looked at her when she giggled slightly. What? Take a drink, y'all, MC said. What? You two. I haven't seen you tease each other like that in so long. Oh. I wasn't teasing. She really is an awful driver. Hey, maybe that's because someone doesn't let me practice. Mom just laughed quietly as she went to pour herself a cup of coffee. Teasing, huh? Actually, it had been a while since we'd had an exchange like that. I'll give Allie a call. You don't have to. It'll make Mom feel better, and I'll let you drive. I can poke you from the passenger seat if you nod off. I grabbed my phone and stepped just outside on the back porch as I dialed Allie's number. Hey, what's up? It's rare for you to call so early. I just wanted to let you know I'm riding with Spencer today. Mom's still a little worried about him not being fully recovered or something. She's kind of bugging me to ride with him. Oh. I'll ride with you tomorrow, okay? Okay. Hey. Yeah? Are we okay? I mean, really? Okay? I sighed softly. Oh, it wasn't like I could stay mad at her. I wasn't even mad, really. Just sad, disappointed, frustrated at her, at Spencer, myself, life in general. I didn't know how to vocalize any of that to her, but in the end it didn't mean that we weren't okay. We were, or at least we would be, hopefully. Yes, we are, of course. I really am doing this to make Mom feel better. She's convinced Spencer's going to fall asleep at the wheel or something. He doesn't want me to drive, so I'm the designated poker. I have to ride with him and jab him awake if he falls asleep. I bet he loves that idea. Yeah, no, not really. Okay, well, I hope he feels better. I'm sure he's fine. Then I'll see you at school. Okay, see you there. I hung up and rubbed my face. I didn't like things being weird between us. We had to find time and just clear the air. The car ride was strange. It's been a long time since we rode with our rude brother Spencer. Things were tense, but not in an angry way. It felt more like riding with a stranger. I was thinking, about the brownie issue. I think I remember reading something in the past about leaving food out for them or something. Are you going to be okay doing that if we need to do something like that to appease it? I can't see it anyway, so it doesn't matter much. Well, they can decide to show themselves to people. What does it look like anyway? A weird, creepy little person, I guess. It has pointy ears. It has neutral nature colors, greens and earthen tones. And it's small, and it's twig-like, it's twiggy. And it talks like a twig, it's like that. That's what it sounds like. Seems par for the course for fairies. There's something I've been kind of wanting to ask you. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. What is it? That day in the woods, You said you saw me in a clearing, but I didn't look like me at first. What did I look like? Even if I tell you, what good is it gonna do? I don't know. It's creepy. Thinking I don't even know what I look like. It just bothers me. I know you don't believe I don't remember, and I don't know what's going on. I don't not believe you. I mean, I just don't know what to think anymore. We drove in silence for a moment, and I didn't think he was gonna answer my previous question. She was beautiful. The white-haired woman I saw that day. She was beautiful and terrifying. In that first moment she looked at me, I seriously thought I was gonna die. He's finally opening up and telling us what happened. You know what that description reminded me of? It reminded me of Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings. Remember that scene where Frodo is in the woods looking at the well or whatever, and Galadriel comes up, the magic well, and she's like, what do you see in there? Or was it an orb? I think it was water. I think it was a well or a fountain or something. And then she like got all crazy, you know, she had white hair, and then the wind was all blowing in it, and there was like flashing blue lights and stuff, and she was like glowing, you know, and she was like super tall and stuff, beautiful and scary, and she was like this, y'all. She was like,
all shall love me and despair.
remember that from The Lord of the Rings? And she was giving Frodo the side eye. She was like this, you know, giving him some serious side eye. Anyway, that's what happened. I'm sorry for hurting you. I don't remember it. And I don't know if it was me or if I was in my right mind or what happened. But I'm so sorry. I know. He sighed. All this supernatural stuff, this cryptic nonsense and everything, it would just be better for everyone if none of it existed. In that moment, I couldn't really say I disagreed with him. Spencer and I had agreed that it was better to show up to school early so we could still use the spare time to research up on in the club room. We need to learn more about supernatural things. He was now in the same position as I had been. He wanted to know more about the paranormal community in general. Even so, it felt awkward with him in the club. It was kind of amazing how quickly one got used to lying. Every time I looked up and saw him sitting a few feet away, I felt a moment of panic. Fortunately, it was actually sort of crowded this morning. Besides the two of us, William was there, along with a girl I'd seen several times but didn't really know. Oh, look at these. Hey, I haven't seen some of them in a long time. Look at them. There's two love interests. I don't know who that girl is. I don't remember her. Where did I see her before? Or have I seen her? Maybe I haven't seen her yet. Draken had also wandered in at some point and was sitting on the floor with his back to my chair. Three of us were buried in books. William and the girl he was with there were talking really quietly together. I was sitting in one of the wing-back chairs with my legs folded under me as I tried to focus on the book in my lap. The words were just blurring together as I tapped the end of my pen against the page. Draken tipped his head back and looked up at me from the floor, expression worried. Are you okay? Yeah, just a little tired as usual. Still busy with your research? Yeah, more or less. I tried for a genuine smile. How's the art exhibit planning going? He turned around, resting his arms on the arms of the chair. It's going okay. I haven't been helping every day, but just when I have time. Are you gonna enter something?
Oh, I brought some things to show Raina, but I didn't have a chance.
You should try to enter something if you can.
I'll try. I have a lot on my plate at the moment. Anyway, how are you, William? We don't really get to talk much.
So y'all, this one, the pink-haired guy, that's Draken. And this one right here, this is William. And William is like a psychic or something? I can't remember. And he's an Esper. That's right. William is an Esper. Draken, I can't remember what Draken is. He's, I don't remember what he is. He's not a wizard, I don't think. He's not a vampire. I don't think he's a werewolf. He's not a werewolf. Is he another fae? What other supernatural beings are there that I can't think of right now? I don't remember. I think I had it figured out all at one point. I had it all figured out, and now I remember nothing. Nothing! I'm okay. He looked away awkwardly, then back to me, almost seeming to panic when our eyes met. Have you met Shelley?
I've seen her. In the library here and there. We've never really met.
Shelley just smiled, faintly. That must be Shelley. Hi, Shelley. It's nice to meet you. Allie's told me about you.
Oh?
She was really excited when you moved back to town.
So was I.
Ew. Now I was just being gross and mopey about the whole thing. How annoying. I kicked my inner self. Stop whining. By the way, I hope the herb mixtures I made for you are working out. Oh, you made those! That's exactly like... I didn't read that first. I realized while I was saying it that that's exactly what Rue also said. Basically, we had the same exact reaction at the same exact time. We did. Yes, it was me.
Then I should thank you. They seem to be working fine so far. I haven't been able to escape my room at night since I started using them.
Escape your room?
Yeah, apparently I sleepwalk. We haven't worked out why yet, but the fae part of my brain appears to enjoy frolicking in the woods at night. Either that or I have somewhere I need to go.
Do you leave your house at night? While asleep?
Yeah, it's been an ongoing thing for a while now, though I just found out about it. Anyway, waking up outside in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night is not something I recommend.
That's really dangerous this time of year.
So I've heard, but the herbs are working at least.
I wasn't entirely sure that St. John's wort would be an effective barrier, but Allie said she needed something quick. I've been thinking that maybe I should try a water infusion instead. It would be easier to put down and wouldn't leave as much of a mess.
The dried herbs are working fine. I'm certain that I've tried to leave at night, but I haven't gotten far. Thanks, though. But you don't have to go to the trouble.
Well, if you're happy with it, then I guess it's okay. This is ridiculous. Everyone looked at him as Spencer slammed the book shut and set it harshly on the coffee table. Don't be so rude, Spencer. We're having a pleasant conversation. It has nothing to do with you. All right? Just let people talk. Let people hang out and enjoy themselves. Why do you have to be so rude? At first I thought he was talking about our conversation, but he was glaring down at the book and not even looking our way. Oh, was he having a reaction at the book? Calm down, Spencer. You don't have to behave that way.
What's wrong?
None of these creatures even make the slightest sense from a biological or evolutionary perspective. Even if I can accept magic as some sort of unknown energy field that is yet to be detected by modern science. Half these fairies make no sense at all. Hollow women? Even if you factor in magic as an energy field, that makes no sense. How can a living creature be hollow in the back?
Yeah, welcome to my world. Well, with most fae creatures, it's really hard to know how much of what you see is real and how much is just glamour. They're masters of disguise. My eyes met Spencer's as I frowned. To the point we can hide even from ourselves, I guess. There's a lot to learn. I know. Believe me, I know. Anyway, good news is that I think I found a way to appease our brownie.
You have a brownie in your house? That's so cool. Hardly.
Ignore the grouch over there. He's just not a fan because he made it mad and it's been pranking him pretty much every day since we moved in.
Milky's like, yeah, feel you, bro. For once, we can come to understand, Spencer and where he's coming from, I suppose. I started putting my things away since the bell was going to ring soon. Listen, he doesn't have to be so rude about it. Ouch.
Yeah, well anyway, I think we can convince it to stop. I slipped my things into my book bag and stood. I'm gonna go head into class now. I'll see you later. I left them there and started down the hall to the stairs. I was going to have to find a way to test that changeling thing. I had to stop moping about it, even if it meant having to walk away from everything I knew. But I couldn't keep moping around the school being afraid and anxious. I hated it. I hated that I was going to have to be the one to suck it up and be ready to sacrifice everything. But being stalled in one place while I fretted about everything was just making things worse.
Listen, girl, just because you're changing doesn't mean you have to give up everything, you know? It doesn't mean that you have to move, that you can't have friends, that you can't have loved ones, that you can't continue on with your life. That's not what that means. It just means that you're a changeling and you know what your heritage is. That's all. That's all, girl.
I'd had enough time to brood. It was time to move on. Literature was nice. Somehow there had been a shift in my relationship with Marc. Maybe he was just being gentle because he knew I had a lot on my mind. The rest of the class had been rearranged to new seating, but apparently he'd convinced Mrs. Roberts that, for the good of his grade, he needed to keep me as his reading partner. Oh! And when we'd started a new play, he'd actually complained. Surprisingly little. Maybe because Benedict had some pretty good lines and he could appreciate the wit. I kind of like this one too, anyway.
You seem to be enjoying this play more than the rest. The last one. You seem to be enjoying this play more than the last.
I was just thinking the same thing about you, actually. But yeah, I like this one. I can relate to Beatrice.
The part does seem like it was written for you.
Right.
Not to change the subject, but during lunch, there's somewhere I want to take you.
Me? During lunch?
Are you going to take us on a lunch date?
Yes.
Unless you don't wish to go.
Where do you want to take me?
You'll see during lunch. Is it going to be a surprise? Are we going to a surprise lunch date?
Mysterious. Should I be scared?
Do you think I'd take you somewhere frightening?
I don't know. This is you after all.
Oh, I can flirt with him. So does that mean this is a date? Okay, that's what I want to say.
Yes,
So does that mean this is a date? We're hitting on this man.
Oh, meeting up for lunch. Does that mean this is a date?
I had no idea what possessed me to say that. Apparently, I had decided to channel Allie just long enough to say something that sounded awkward and weird the moment it left my mouth. Marc just raised an eyebrow. That reaction was not helping. I would never refer to having lunch together at school as a date. We're having lunch together. It's a date. It's a lunch date.
I wouldn't call it that either.
But you're not just having it at school. You're taking us away somewhere. We're not just going to the cafeteria like usual. It's a date, Noru.
You enjoy taking all my jokes seriously, don't you?
It's amusing to watch your frustration.
Sadist.
You continue to fall for it. Does that make you a masochist? Milky? Is he eating us? He is a vampire. Also, I hope so.
No, that puts a really odd spin in our friendship, so no.
Would the answer be yes if the spin on our friendship was less odd?
No, definitely.
Hey, did he just acknowledge that we're friends? Whoa, that took me off guard. It felt really weirdly like I just leveled up or something. See, that's the thing with tsunderes, okay? They give you crumbs of affection, and we're like, oh, he said something halfway nice to us. Oh, God. Something halfway nice, and we're completely unraveling. Crumbs of affection. Normally, he'd have been all, I never said we were friends. I'm merely staying on friendly terms because we have another quiz in 2 weeks or something.
I guess things really have changed between us. And that thought gave me a much-needed smile.
Lunch rolled around fairly quickly. It never failed to impress me how normal life managed to continue in spite of everything that was going on in the club room or at home each evening. You know, it always is interesting when you feel like your life is falling apart at the seams, the world is crashing down, and yet it keeps going. Every day, people, life, it just keeps going without you. Hi, Stucky! Welcome, you stunner with the cute dancing dinos. Thank you for being here. Y'all, look, it's Stucky. It's Stucky Stuckeren. There was a strange disconnect between the reality I knew existed and the one that everyone else was a part of. I kept having moments of clarity where that disconnect was strangely apparent. It was odd being a part of both realities, and there's Milky with the tentacle. The high five tentacle. At any rate, as soon as the bell rang signaling the start of lunch, I made my way up to the 4th floor. Marc was already waiting for me in the club room, sitting in one of the wing back chairs reading. Every time I see that phrase, wing back chairs, I want to say back wing for some reason. I don't know why. There you go, both of you with the tentacles. Tentacles, that's what makes a squelching sound. Tentacles make squelching noises, not the little brownie fae. I paused in the doorway, amused by the scene in front of me. He looked so at home in the fancy club, lounging there reading. He looked up the moment I entered and closed the book. Are you ready?
Yes, though I'm still curious where we're going.
You'll find out momentarily.
What should I do with my things?
You can bring them along. He led the way to the far door and knocked, distinctly, differently than how one knocked to get to the library. And with that, he pushed the door open. He was like this. The door opened to an unfamiliar courtyard. There were several tables and chairs, as well as some lovely greenery. Uh-oh. Ash is over there drinking tea, saying, interesting observation about tentacles being squelchy. Oh, God. Oh God, Ash, tell me it doesn't have tentacles. Tell me it doesn't have tentacles. It's gonna be like this, all squelchy and stuff, and then it's gonna be like,
my existence is pain. Squelch, squish, squash.
that's what's gonna happen. I can tell already. I obviously I'm predicting 100% accuracy. That's going to happen. I stepped through, immediately aware how much warmer it was in that place than at home. Marc put his sunglasses on before he followed me, though. It's beautiful. What is this place? Solus Cortis, I believe the name. Where even is this? Definitely wasn't anywhere near Pine Hollow. It was way too warm and green. It felt more like summer than fall. I'm unsure of the exact location. It's gorgeous. Indeed it is. I mean, what country are we in? Maybe start with that. What part of the world are we in? What hemisphere are we in? Are we in Kansas anymore? You can get to the murder through there. Instantly. Incidentally. To the murder? The murder? You can get to the murder through there incidentally. He pointed to one of the several doors in the building that lined the courtyard. What? Really? That deserves a double drink. What? And really? So, it's a shortcut. Why am I just now learning of this? That would have been convenient during all of our tutoring sessions. Marc just shrugged, nonplussed about my mock outrage. I almost never come here. It honestly didn't occur to me to show you. Then why are you bringing me here today if you almost never come here? I thought you would like it. And also... Oh, God. You just clipped it. One of my favorite clips of all time, y'all. It's the mayor clip. The mayor clip is one of my favorite moments of all of my clips of all time. In fact, maybe we should watch that. Okay, listen up, everybody. I've turned the volume all the way up. Honestly, I'm looking at this dude on the bottom corner and he's like kind of fine. You know, like when I look at him up here, I'm like, But then I look at him down here and I'm like, I mean, don't judge me, okay? Listen, don't judge me. You all thought it too. You thought it too. You looked down there and saw him like framed in the flowers and you were like, If he's really small and far away, he becomes hot. You're judging? Excuse me, Milky? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you judge me? You know you thought it. Look at him. You know you thought it. You all had the thought, okay? You had the thought, all right? It wasn't just me. It wasn't just me and Eshberry's degenerate fan. I was not the only one else. I was not the only one, okay? Listen, and Milky is judging me to this very day. To this very day, I'm still getting judged by Milky. Okay, Milky is ruthless. Ruthless! Real. No one else thought that. Listen, okay, I happen to know that some of your other fans, in fact, quite a few of your other fans looked at that man and said, that man is fine. Like, seriously, like maybe just get rid of the mustache, okay? Just take away the mustache, all right? And then let the hair just down and flowing and big. The dude is fine. The dude is fine, okay? He's beautiful, right? We love him. I love him. Bone, okay? Bone. I bone the mayor. No one else? What? Milky should judge you for the rest of your natural life. I will. Now y'all are in cahoots. Now you're in cahoots. How dare you? Listen, okay? I'm not the only one. He's fine. Right, Jambi? Jambi, come on, you agree with me. Jambi agrees with me just a little bit. Just in your heart of hearts, Jambi. In your heart of hearts. You looked at him and you were like, I could see it. Yes, see? I knew it. Yes. See, somebody agrees with me. Somebody agrees with me. Esh doesn't understand ugly. That is true. I have not seen a single character that came from Esh that was legit ugly. Not one. Not one. Not a single one. There's never been like a truly ugly Uggo character. Esh can't create Uggo. Jambi et tu. Ooh, et tu, Brute. I thought you would like it. And also... The door to the library opened again mid-sentence and Allie stepped through. I shot Marc a look. He simply raised an eyebrow and cocked his head slightly. He didn't seem at all surprised to see her. And she comes here also. Was that what you were about to say? I guess this place is not as secret as we all thought. Everybody's showing up here now. Allie clearly didn't expect to see me either. Surprise was written all over her face. Oh, okay. She was trying to hide out here. She's trying to hide and we just busted in here. You know, we busted in and disturbed the peace. I see. What are you doing here? Well, I'm saving it. That's what I'm doing first. Because we save at every choice. I'm still trying to get a bad ending. That's still my goal. I was just leaving. Marc brought me, or what are you doing here? You know what? I'm nosy. I'm nosy. This is supposed to be our secret little lunch date. What are you doing here, biatch? What are you doing here? I eat lunch here. I shot Marc a glance. He had to have known that, right? Is this why he brought me here? Did he bring me here so that we'd like kiss and make up or something? That's why we're here, isn't it? Why are you here instead of the cafeteria? I guess it's just easier, I guess. The more time I spend with people who aren't in the club, the more I realize how much of my life I can't share with them. How come you never told me about it? I could have eaten lunch here with you. Well, I heard you were having lunch with Danny and Elliot, so I figured you just wanted to hang out with them. You were kind of struggling with, you know, the idea of all this. I thought you wanted to maintain that normalcy, like they do. I've been wondering this whole time where you had lunch. Really? Why didn't you ever ask? I kept forgetting. This girl. I forgot. Marc cleared his throat softly and started to the other side of the courtyard. I thought we were going to have a lunch date. Why are you ditching me all of a sudden? Come back here. Where are you going? I took the liberty of ordering something for you to eat. I believe I'll go pick it up. Oh, that's so cute. Nice. He not so subtly left me and Allie alone to talk. How dare you ditch me? I wasn't sure what to say. It was Allie who spoke first, of course. You're still not mad at me, are you? I'm not mad. I was never mad. Actually, you were flustered, okay? You didn't know what to do with yourself. You did overreact, Noru. You did. You freaked out. All because she said that you might be a changeling and we ought to test it. I thought it was a good suggestion, honestly. I went to sit at the nearest table, flopping into one of the chairs.
I know I probably came across that way. It's just the idea that I might not be me is kind of a lot to deal with. I was just frustrated that everyone else was suggesting it so casually. Or casually suggesting we test it, like the fallout wouldn't have massive implications for me.
I wasn't trying to be casual about it. I mean, you're still you. You always will be. I never meant to imply otherwise.
She joined me at the table, giving me an earnest look as she leaned toward me, resting her arms on the table.
I just thought if we could test the theory and if Spencer could see that it didn't work, he might be able to move on.
And what if it does work?
I mean, I don't think it would.
But you don't know. I don't even know.
You're really worried about this, aren't you?
Yes.
I dragged my hands through my hair. Of course I was worried about it. How could I not worry about that? Allie reached over abruptly and hugged me tightly. I'm really sorry. I didn't think it through. I was just thinking of it as a way to prove Spencer wrong. I wasn't really considering the possibility that he was on to something. I leaned my head on her shoulder, squeezing my eyes shut. Just like Bella Swan in Twilight. That's how Bella Swan would squeeze her eyes shut and hug somebody.
What if he really is right? I could lose everything.
Allie squeezed me tighter. Not everything. Wherever this ends, I'm going to be right beside you, I promise. She pulled away and, still holding tightly to my shoulders, looked me in the eye. Listen, right now things are getting even crazier than usual with all the prepping for Sam Hain this weekend. I'm pretty swamped with stuff, so let's just not do anything yet. I know waiting sucks, but the timing of this all just sucks. Which, it's not your fault or anything, it's just the timing being weird. Remember, y'all, Sam Hain is that thing that happens when all of the spirits, I guess, and the supernaturals and the things, the monsters all come out. All the monsters start coming out during Sam Hain, and it's dangerous. You can keep researching to see if you can find me some alternative theories. In the meantime, if you're okay with it, I'll look for some safe ways we can test this theory. We can do it when Spencer's not around, so that no matter the results, we can plan how to handle it without him freaking out.
Okay.
There are also a few other things I want to look into. This coming Monday is a day off from school. We can use that to do whatever we need to. And until then, don't worry about it.
How can I not worry about this? This could be the last weekend I spend with my family. Come Monday, I could find out I'm a bridge spriggan.
Girl, you ain't no bridge troll. Real. You ain't no bridge troll. I can guarantee it. What now?
You know, a creepy fairy that should be living under a bridge or something?
Girl, no. No. I know, right, nerd boy? No. Yeah, no. That part. Exactly, Allie. I don't think that's much of a concern.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do know that. Stop overthinking this. I blew my bangs out of my face and flopped onto the table. That's how people blow their bangs out of their face.
If there's another Rue out there somewhere, do you think we could just convince my parents we were triplets instead of twins?
Girl, that could be doable.
Whoa, seriously?
Girl, Do you think your mom would fall for that? If you had unless you were adopted, but y'all look like your mama. Y'all look like your mama. I think your mama would be able to tell if she had 2 babies or 3 babies. I'm just saying. Memories are pretty malleable. Well, maybe you could do magic and trick them into thinking that that's what happened. Big if, there's another Rue out there. She spent her whole life in Fairy. She may not be able to come back. She may not want to. This isn't a situation where we're dealing with infants who can't choose where they stay and what they do. No matter what happens going forward, you get a choice, and so does she, if she's even exists, which is something I'm still massively dubious about. Courtney, the mom, would not fall for it. Even if they tried to use magic to do it, it wouldn't work on her. See that part? And why do you have the little horns? With the little devil horns with that smile? Esh, what's going on with MC's mom? Milky, yeah, triplets would be memorable. There's no way you forget that you birthed 3 babies. There's no way you would forget that.
This is all so weird.
I know. Welcome to the world of the paranormal.
The world of the paranormal really needs to work on his welcome gifts because mine sucks.
I apologize for the delay. Marc returned and set a white bag and 2 paper cups on the table. Each was emblazoned with the black crow silhouette from the murder's logo. Did you know that a group of crows is called a murder? Did you know that? A murder of crows. It's kind of like a herd of sheep, a murder of crows. That's the thing. That's real. You never learn in the game what's going on with Courtney? What? Oh my gosh, you don't? How dare you, Esh? But I will just point out that she was best friends with Allie's mom, who's a witch. Okay, well, at least we know that Allie is a witch in the game. So there's no way that Courtney isn't aware of at least some of what's going on, even if she doesn't have all the details or know everything. Nora's dad is the only one that is fully clueless. I had a feeling Mom knew something. I had a feeling. Mom's too smart to not be able to figure that stuff out. Mom figures stuff out. Mom knows stuff's going on. Mom knows about magic. There's no way that you'd be able to convince her that she had triplets when she didn't. Allie shot me a teasing grin. So, lunch date? No. Yes. Hi, Marc. Perhaps. Wait, what? Everyone take a drink. MC said, what? So we can only pick Esh's brains for backstory. Lots of backstory. More backstory, Esh. Meanwhile, Esh is sipping tea. Suspiciously. Y'all, for those of you who may not know, Eshberry is the dev of this game. That's right, Esh is the one who's responsible for this hot mess. He smirked slightly. I see how it is. Well, if you two will excuse me, I think I'm gonna go have lunch elsewhere. Wait, you... She's like, I don't want to be here and be the third wheel while you two sit here and have a lunch date and start making out right in front of me. She disappeared before I could finish my sentence. Nora is keeping you hydrated and you are keeping me hydrated. That's right. We're making sure look, I'm almost done with this water bottle, actually. I'm going to have to fill it up in a bit because Noru, girl's been confused a lot today. Lots of, huh? What? Why? All of that. She disappeared before I could finish my sentence. I glanced up at Marc, raising an eyebrow.
Perhaps.
It isn't it isn't incorrect, but it's not exactly definitive. It kind of implies this is somewhat a date. Thank you for the lurky turkey. Marc opened the bag and pulled out a single sandwich, which he placed in front of me. I thought you would enjoy this one. Oh, thank you. I eyed the bag curiously when I realized my lunch was all that was in it.
You don't eat?
Girl, he's a vampire. Of course I eat, just not typically sandwiches.
You can't eat them?
I can. But your food is the equivalent of junk food for me, and my body doesn't handle it well. I prefer not to deal with the digestive unrest. I snickered softly.
I see.
Digestive unrest, huh? That's a good way to say that. That's a good way to say. Next time I have a tummy ache, I'm going to say, I have digestive unrest and it hurts. Next time my stomach's sick.
You don't bring, your own food?
Can you imagine me drinking blood at school? Good point.
You could always claim it's tomato juice.
They don't have the same color, consistency, or smell. The risk of being exposed isn't worth it.
I suppose that's true. So, did you bring me here so I could talk to Allie?
The disagreement was clearly weighing on you both. But, given how stubborn you are, I suspected you weren't going to talk to her unless you were forced to do so.
Well, normally I'd see her in the mornings whether I like it or not, but I rode with Spencer today. Speaking of him, he's been really tired the last few days. I guess I'm not the only one having bad dreams.
You've been having nightmares.
I don't know if that's the right way to characterize them. They're sort of disquieting thoughts. They feel more like memories. Mine, I guess. I think they might be from the times I went missing. After I wake up, they fade pretty fast, so I can't quite recall the details. It's just sort of uncomfortable, and definitely adds to the feeling that I've got to figure all of this out soon.
I think we should talk to the murder. Today, if I can get away. They're potentially the quickest way to discover the truth you're looking for. There's a chance they may be able to figure out something about your origins without having to do some sort of test. Oh, yes, let's talk to the murderer. Yes, after we save the game. You said I shouldn't talk to them, or do you think they'll be able to help? We're sassing this man. You said I shouldn't talk to them. I'm pleased you actually remember that warning, however. The circumstances have changed. This no longer appears to be a situation where you can find the answers by yourself. Ewan knew nothing, of course, and Brenna rejected any attempts to discuss it with her. I really didn't expect her to be willing to divulge any secrets. Rumor has it that she's on really bad terms with the courts, but even so, it's obvious her loyalty to Fairy still runs deep in some ways. She's always been loath to talk about anything regarding the Fae, so I suspected asking her would be an exercise in futility. At this point, the only people I can think of who may be able to find something...
The murder.
Correct.
If I recall, it was the payment that had you especially worried.
Thank you for being a streaker stunner, Chujin. Appreciating you. You get extra bubble points. It still has me somewhat concerned. It varies. They'll ask something of you specifically, something only you can pay.
That sounds rather vague.
Which is why it concerns me. There's no telling what they'll ask. It could be something simple, and it could be something less so.
Have you ever gotten help from them before?
No, but I'll go with you. At the very least, I'll ensure they don't take advantage of you. Oh, you're such a gentleman. Oh, are you going to protect me?
Not that I need you there to not be taken advantage of.
Ugh. Remember Futurama? Remember Zap Brannigan and Kif? Sometimes Marc reminds me of Kif, where he's just like, MC will say something ridiculous like Zap Brannigan does, and then Kif just goes, ugh, ugh. That's what Marc does. I didn't mean it like that. But you can't deny that you have, in the past, been somewhat less wary than you should be. There have been many times when he told us not to do something, and we did it anyway, and then we almost got chomped by a monster, and he saved us. Yep, that happened. Poor Kip. It's your favorite show. I love that show.
I suppose that's true.
And while I have no direct experience with a murder outside of Corvin, I know enough to be cautious. I would prefer to be there just in case.
Worried about me?
I am.
Oh?
I don't want you to get in over your head.
I was silent because it was the first time he was voicing honest concern. I wasn't sure how to feel about it.
Rue. I love you, Rue. I'm desperately in love with you. As soon as this chapter's getting close to be ended, guess what? I'm going to steal a kiss from you. That's right. When you're not paying any attention, I'm going to look lovingly at your beautiful red hair, and then I'm going to pull you into my chest. I'm going to wrap my strong arms around you. I'm going to sniff your neck just like any old vampire would. But I'm going to say, Rue, you smell delicious. Let me have a bite. I mean, let me have a kiss. Yes. Rue.
Yeah?
If we go there, you need to be prepared for whatever they tell you. They may not say what you wish to hear.
I know that.
Whatever they tell you, I will be here to help you with it, for as long as you wish me to be here. Okay, listen. When you're a tsundere, like Marc is, that's basically a love confession. That's a love confession right there. Okay? If he doesn't love us by now, I don't know what that is. All right? If Marc ever told Nora she smelled delicious, she would smack him in the face with something. I wasn't paying attention and then started to register what Rue was saying, and it was like, what? And I do in fact smell delicious. You didn't realize Marc was not actually saying that, huh? He did now. He's saying that now. Okay. He's delicious. He's so sweet right now. He's definitely in love with us. Without thinking, I reached for his hand. He flinched slightly but didn't pull away when I took it. Oh, now we're holding hands. Oh, so cute. You know what? You do smell fantastic. You know, you smell like lavender and vanilla. That's what you smell like. Jujin says, we were just talking about some people who are bloodthirsty for Rue. Definitely not Marc. Thanks. Marc didn't respond. He was staring at our hands with an expression that seemed strangely bewildered. Something about the look on his face made my breath catch in my throat. He shifted his hand slightly and suddenly his fingers were slipping between mine. We're seriously holding hands now. It's so cute. They're so cute. Real, Jujin, real. He's thirsty for something real. He finally looked up at me, his face suspiciously red as our eyes met. Look at him blushing. Look at him. Look at his blushing face. He's so cute. I love blushing sprites. It's a requirement in Otome games. There has to be blushing. There has to be. You have to blush. MC is blushing too. That isn't something you need to thank me for. He smiled slightly as he looked down at me. Your heart rate is elevated. Oh. Stupid vampire spidey sense. No, it isn't. Yes, it is, girl. He can hear it, okay? He can smell it. He can tell. Clown makeup is the default state for all the vampires in this game. Clown makeup. Raffle. Good one, Ash. Good one. I tried to pull my hand away, but he held on tightly. Oh, yes. It is. I looked away from him, my eyes darting around the courtyard as I looked for something, anything, to look at besides his face. Well, thank you for that medical assessment. Would you like another one? Oh, stop, Marc. I suddenly felt his fingers on my chin, forcing me to look at him again. Heat flooded my face. Oh. What? Y'all take another drink. MC just said what? He's getting all romantic. He's like pulling up all the stops. It was about to become even more elevated. Oh, it is. My heart rate is gonna go up higher. What are you gonna do, Marc? Huh? We need water because we're thirsty, okay? Stop! And with that, he leaned across the table and carefully pressed his lips to mine. Look. We finally get our kiss, CG. Wow, look at how he's weaving his fingers through our hair. It's so passionate, Marc. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, that's right, Milky. Take a drink. There was one moment of surprise before I closed my eyes and kissed him back. Ooh! Okay, now we're really into it. Kith! 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 No! Oh, y'all! Chapter 8, The Changeling Trials. Yay! We got the kiss, CG! Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Oh, that was so cute. That was so cute. We got the stolen kiss. We got the stolen kiss. We know what happened. That was so sweet. We finally got our kiss. We didn't get kiss blocked for once. I'm so happy. That was so sweet and romantic. Yes, it was. I loved it. I loved that scene. He really was taking us out on a lunch date, you know? It was a real lunch date. Oh. Okay, y'all, we'll go a little bit further. Chapter 8, The Changeling Trials. I think you said there's 12 chapters or 13. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to discovering what kind of ending we might get into. My head was buried in my journal as I walked down the 4th floor corridor.
Okay, I got the shirt in my bag. And the eggshells.
The rest of the items on the list, though, I definitely need Allie's help to find. I was a little dubious about some of the items, though, but at least most of it would be manageable. I sighed and shut the book as I stepped through the club door, expecting Allie to be waiting for me already. Oh, no Allie, but there was a pretty interesting sight in front of me. William was sitting in one of the wing-back chairs, reading and sleeping on the sofa. And there was Marc. I set my things down quietly as I entered. William looked up and smiled. I waved as I joined him on the other side of the room. He set down his book. Good morning.
Hi.
I nodded toward Marc curiously. It seems like he got here early to see you, but he's not really a morning person.
He's really not.
Neither are we, like real. I crouched next to him, studying his sleeping face. He looks so peaceful. Marc is sleeping. He's knocked out hard. How cute. I never really imagined getting to see him like this. Most people do when they're sleeping. All the things they normally worry about are wiped away. Oh, that's true. People are peaceful.
Does Marc even really worry about anything?
He worries a lot about you. Oh, my ears were burning as I turned my face away, unable to meet his eyes. Covering my mouth with my hand, I continued to study Marc's face. Without thinking, I reached to brush a lock of hair away from his eyes. Oh, stop. So cute. He looked strangely younger, sweet, almost gentle. It wasn't an expression I'd seen on him a lot. He looked like that yesterday. My face went hot at the memory of yesterday's lunch date. Gah! I covered my face with my hands, trying to push those images away. Are you okay?
I nodded, keeping my face hidden.
She's like this. Yep, everything's fine. Everything's okay. Don't look at me. Don't look at me blushing.
I was still both exhilarated and utterly confused by what happened. Apparently, Marc found that response quite amusing, which irritated me to no end. I was sitting there with one hand to my mouth, staring at Marc. Coherent thoughts were trying to form and failing. Why? Take another drink.
Why indeed?
Marc's usual stoic expression held a faint hint of amusement as he watched me struggle to speak.
William being able to hear every single thought and pretending he can't. That must be awkward. William's just like, don't even try. Don't even try to hide it. It's fine. I know. I already know. Why do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, I suppose that I did know, but when had things gone this way, why hadn't I noticed? You really don't know. Most would at least realize that there are fairly limited reasons why I would kiss you. Let me guess, William is seeing and hearing all of this in our head right now, isn't he?
Don't say kiss so casually.
How exactly am I supposed to say it then?
I don't know. Don't look at me.
I covered my face with my hands, unable to bear that amused smirk he was giving me. He'd kissed me. Marc kissed me. I kissed him. We kissed. My ears were so hot, it felt like they were going to evaporate off the sides of my head. Oh my God. This isn't quite the reaction I expected. He pulled my hands away from my face and leaned closer, still wearing that infuriating, smug grin. Is it the grin that he's giving us right there under today's boyfriend? That's the grin. William breaking out the popcorn in 3D glasses. Ooh, flashback sequence. Exactly. Poor William. Poor William having to hear people's thoughts. It sounds terrible. Can I get out of your head, please? This is a surprising side of you. I never thought you'd get this embarrassed. Of course I'd get embarrassed by something like that. Just thinking of it again was making me embarrassed. My entire evening had been consumed by the memory of the way his hand had felt in mine. In that moment, the sensation of his warm lips and the way his hair had brushed against my cheek. Hearing the thoughts in high school. No, that's the worst. Nope, that would be horrible. That would be horrible. The way he'd been so close that, for that moment, there was nothing else in the world but the feeling of him kissing me. Even now my heart was going crazy, just at the memory of it all. The more I thought about it all, the more I realized. Oh, we're having a realization. We're going back to save it. Okay, we've got to start the saves from number 1 now. Yep. I really liked him. I honestly had no idea how I felt that he and I really needed to talk. Oh no. I want to say I really liked him, but I want a bad ending. I can't not like him. He has learned to block out most people. Nora's thoughts are just really loud. That's exactly what Marc said. William through all of this. Popcorn. More popcorn. More popcorn. I really liked him. I can't deny it, y'all. I can't deny it. I really liked him. Funnily, I couldn't pinpoint when it started. When exactly had my feelings toward him softened to this degree? At first, I'd been pretty sure I didn't like him at all. Then I got to know him and it was just fun to tease him. He was so cranky all the time that I couldn't help but find him funny. The way he'd respond to all my little jabs and the way he'd get so annoyed at the most trivial things. He always had something to complain about, but at the same time he was a bit of a mother hen, and that side of him was kind of frustrating and adorable. He was bossy. He was always complaining that I wasn't careful enough or that I was running late. Oh, that silly Marc. Oh, he doesn't like it when I'm late. Is that sexy? I couldn't help but find it endearing that beneath all the vampire snobbery was such a fussy, nitpicky warrior. I love a mother hen. Yes, I do. Oh, man. I'm in trouble, aren't I? I really, really liked him. A lot. Damn it. It looked like even amid an existential crisis, Samhain, vampires, and everything else, interpersonal relationships were still there. Real life continued. There was homework. There were chores and boys to figure out. I couldn't decide if it was comforting or annoying. But ever since that first week, Marc had been there through everything, helping, protecting me, encouraging me. Whether we were just friends or something more, I was grateful for it. I would be grateful if you'd stop shouting in my ear. William's face. I let out a scream of surprise when he spoke and scrambled away. Did he hear all of that? I really needed a hole to crawl into. Marc opened one eye and glared my way. I did ask you to stop shouting. He sounded like he'd just woken up from a deep sleep, not just a quick nap. Sorry. He swung his feet down and sat up, digging his knuckles into his eyes. Grumpy or not, it was still funny watching him try to wake up. So much that cranky barrier he usually kept up had just fallen away. I found myself smiling affectionately before I even realized it. Marc looked up at me, hair mussed, eyes still a bit foggy. He patted the sofa next to him once, a tacit indication he wanted me to join him, I assume. I crossed my arms and raised an eyebrow.
If you want me to join you, you should at least say please.
Marc pursed his lips and raised an eyebrow. I smirked at him. Please. I had a distinct feeling it wasn't a word he said often. From the wing-back chair came a soft laugh. I glanced William's way. He seemed to be trying to hide that laugh behind his book. Not succeeding extremely well. It looked like Marc was going to let it slide, though. I joined him on the sofa. Still feeling a little embarrassed, but not quite as much. Given William's own talents when it came to mind reading, he probably heard all that girly squealing, too. Why are you so late?
I'm not that late, really. But I guess I did have a slow start this morning. Spencer hasn't been sleeping well. I think all the stress has been catching up with him.
Perhaps. He has gone through a lot. Is that why you've been riding with him instead of Allie?
Yeah, Mom worries less if I'm with him. I'm the designated poker.
Poker?
Yeah, I'm there to poke him if he falls asleep at the wheel.
Ah. Does that mean the two of you are getting along better?
Not really.
Hey!
What am I going to do with you, buddy?
He likes ear scritches. He doesn't want me to stop scratching his ears now. These are the most spoiled dogs ever.
Are you spoiled?
They're really getting on better. Nora's definition of better is we went skipping through a flower field together and all was okay. Real, they totally are getting better. Like they actually went to school together, which they haven't done in a while. They haven't been fighting as much. Like they've been doing a lot better. I turned, draping my arms over the back of the sofa. I can't believe I still got here before you. Had to grab a few things before leaving today. Saying of which, you ready? I stood.
Yeah, I guess so.
Where are you going? Sorry, but I'm going to be borrowing Rue this morning. We're probably going to miss literature. I hope you're okay with that.
I don't mind, really, but are you sure Mrs. Roberts is going to be okay with it?
I have permission for us to miss class this morning. This takes precedence. We're gonna figure out what you actually are, girl.
Permission from whom?
Velos. He's not really reporting any of this to the agency since he's a private matter, but he did want to keep tabs. Oh, it's a private matter, so he's giving us our privacy. That's nice. Since he overheard the conversation on Sunday, it's not like I could hide it. He's just worried. And he was the one who insisted we do it now rather than wait. Marc cleared his throat loudly. William also had put down his book and was watching us curiously. What exactly are the two of you going to be doing this morning?
Well,
We're going to be doing some tests on the Changeling matter. Changeling?
It's kind of a long story, but yeah. Seems like Spencer's convinced I am one.
I thought you were opposed to proving yourself via tests.
Well, I was, but at the same time, I feel like I can't really avoid this, even if I want to. I can't just reject the idea because I don't like it.
So I'm just gonna suck it up. That's actually how MC has been repeatedly. Like, she finds out something, right? And then she freaks out about it and rejects it immediately. It's like, no way, Jose, no way. But then she thinks about it and is like, you know what? Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I didn't have to pass out. Maybe it's okay. And then she comes back and is like, all right, tell me more. Let's do this. She's done that before. This is her pattern. This is how she is.
No one's going to be able to move on unless we address this.
What sort of tests? Surely you're not thinking of doing anything dangerous. He's so protective. He's so sweet and protective. I love him. I don't think Velos would allow them to do something dangerous.
None of what we're planning is dangerous. Relax. I mean, there are some dangerous tests, but we're not doing those.
There's only so much room for dogs under my desk. There are lots of potential methods for revealing changelings. We're sticking with the things that won't hurt anyone. Like William said, Velos would never let us do anything that's, as he puts it, stupid. I'm sure you don't have to worry, Marc. I'm not worried. Yes, you are. He leveled a scowl at me. And you're doing these tests now, this morning?
This afternoon, actually. This morning we were just going to gather up everything we need.
And what does your brother think of this?
Is this an interrogation?
Is it necessary to over-dramatize every interaction? Oh my God, you two, don't even start.
Spencer doesn't know anything about it.
We figured it was better to not say anything to him until the tests are done. He'd probably be all weird about it. My experience is that he is all weird about everything related to the club and his sister. He's just trying to cope with all the new information. He's done a rather poor job of it then. Real. I agree. Our brother is trifling.
Marc, stop picking on William.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're being cranky and demanding at everyone. Just calm down.
When Rue said, yes, you are, I was already in the midst of saying that. Real. I am calm. I'm simply annoyed you elected not to inform me of any of this until just now. Allie gave me an amused look.
Oh, we should have informed
Marc. I think the mother hen behavior has gotten worse. Real. I rubbed my forehead. We have to tell Marc what we're doing now, you know? He's overly protective, you know? We need to run approvals by Marc before we do anything that could be potentially dangerous, you know? He's got to make sure we're okay. Okay? Because he's desperately in love with us. And we save it. I guess I should have told you. No, you didn't have to tell him. What is he, your mom, your dad? You don't have to tell him nothing, okay? Listen. No. I didn't think you'd really care that much, or I was planning to let you know beforehand, maybe. This one, maybe if I felt like it, I was going to tell you. Oh, Lord, mother hen mode activate. Real.
I was planning to let you know before we started the actual tests. You know, maybe.
Maybe. But not before you missed literature.
To be fair, I didn't know I would be.
What are you, her mother? Exactly that part.
Thank you, Allie.
Do I have to be her mother to be concerned for her?
No, but just because you're worried about...
No, but just because you're worried about her, it doesn't mean you should treat her like she's 5. I'm not worried. That's literally what concerned means. Rue, I thought you were tutoring this poor soul. I was holding back the laugh as I answered.
Only in Shakespeare.
My point is that it wouldn't have hurt her to say something before now. You're being awfully bossy, Marc, worse than usual.
He's pretty much always like this.
That's true. They're all like jumping in on this. Marc shot us both a scathing glare.
Marc, I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I didn't know I'd be missing literature. And I was planning to tell you about the test during lunch.
I want to help.
With the tests or the gathering part?
Both. Sorry, I don't have permission for you to miss class too, and we don't have time for you to coerce Velos. Marc didn't look pleased about that at all, but to my surprise, he let her have that one. Fine, but I want to be there this afternoon. What if he played hooky? What about that? He could do that. He could call in sick. Do vampires get sick like that? You don't have to. Oh, they do get sick. If they eat the wrong thing, we know that. They get, what? How did he put it? Disrupted something? Dang it, I can't remember the phrase, and it was so good. You don't have to.
Fine, it's fine. Let's just stop arguing about it.
Then text me to keep me informed. Look at his sad puppy face. Oh, Marc. I love him.
You'll be in class.
I'll have my phone on silent. I can check it during the passing period. Digestive unrest. That's what it was. That's so good. I love that. Allie started herding me to the library door. She shot Marc a cheeky grin. I'll be sure to have her back before curfew, too. He glowered at her as she pushed me through the door and into the courtyard, slamming the door shut behind us. Good God! Has he always been like that?
Yeah, basically. Once he stopped being a condescending jerk, which took about a week.
Jeez, I don't know how you put up with it.
He's actually pretty funny when he's annoyed. Tee-hee-hee.
And you say my crush on Spencer is demented. Listen, okay? Your crush on Spencer is disgusting. Okay? Stop. You have terrible trash taste in men. Listen, Marc is way better than my trash twin little brother.
It is, and kind of gross.
Whatever, you're just jealous. Oh, God, no. God, no, I am not jealous. Oh, hell no. No. Ew, Spencer, exactly. Hi, Minty. Hi, Minty. Y'all, Mintsune Self is in the house. Mintsune Self is also a streamer stunner. So check Minty out. Clicky on Minty's name. Also, Mintsune Self does Otome games as well, and other types of games, cozy games and stuff. And Minty is also an artist. Yep, real.
No, I'm not.
Anyway, we have a bit of a scavenger hunt ahead of us to find some of these things. I hope you're up for it.
Do I get a choice?
Nope, no backing out now. I hope you're doing well too. Yes, I do. Yes. Come on, let's go through the cafe. We can get a coffee first.
Sounds good to me.
I thought it might. I shut my locker door and sighed, resting my forehead against it. That had taken way longer than Allie expected. We'd only gotten back in the middle of the third period. Fortunately, we had notes excusing us from class, but I was definitely tired after running all over town to hunt down a pretty weird collection of items. The only good thing was that now that it was lunch, the day was half over, and I hadn't had time to really stop and think about what was going to happen during those tests. At least, not until now. Now that I wasn't racking my brain to figure out how to get our hands on an iron horseshoe, or conversely, desperately trying to catch up to a half-missed chemistry lesson, I was thinking of nothing but the tests, and I was oscillating between defiance and anxiety when it came to actually going through with it at all. I paused on the stairs, looking out the window. I really hope I don't regret finding out whatever we uncover this afternoon, but it was too late to back out now. What are you doing? The familiar voice startled me out of my reverie. I had a feeling it was going to be one of them. Adrian was standing a few steps below me, looking up with the usual smile. To my surprise, Spencer was with him as well. Did you two make up or something? Are you friends now? And I've been seeing you two together a lot lately. Yeah, looks like we have a lot in common. Don't wink at me. Stop winking. No. Really? You don't have to say that like it's shocking. It kind of is shocking, though. We're heading to the club. You're going there too, I assume. Yeah. They continued up toward me, and the three of us went up the last flight together. You know, when I first joined the club, I never saw you in there, and now you're there all the time. Well, now there are some interesting people in it. I raised an eyebrow. Spencer and I weren't all that interesting, really. He's been helping me with my reading. Is that so? Helping with what exactly? Giving me a bit of direction. There's a lot to catch up on. I know the feeling, but still, I was surprised Spencer trusted Adrian enough to spend time with him, after what had happened and all. I mean, considering that he'd been angry and paranoid for years after what I'd supposedly done to him, it was kind of weird that he casually accepted Adrian. Why does Adrian get to suck out his life force and still be on good terms with him? For real, that's a good question. When something happens between you and him and you're his actual sister and he hates you for years. But you know what? I think deep down he didn't actually hate us. When we reached the club, no one else was there. That included Marc, who I had expected to see already grumpily waiting for me at our lunch, date thing that we were doing in the courtyard again. I was suddenly nervous. If Allie leaves me alone with him again today, I will strangle her. I still wasn't quite ready to face the reality of yesterday's kiss, and I didn't want to try to analyze it when I had these stupid changeling tests looming over me. When those were out of the way, though, Marc and I were going to have a little chat, for sure. Spencer wordlessly claimed one corner of the sofa, while I sat on one of the wing chairs to wait. Adrian joined Spencer, picking up one of the books on the coffee table. He propped his feet against it as he settled into the pillows. Not reading today? I'm not here to study today. Actually, I was just waiting for me. And there was Marc, right on cue. Bossy and imperious as usual. Oh, really? Waiting for Marc because you weren't going to study. What are you doing then? Actually, we were about to leave. Together? Obviously. Why else would she have been waiting for me? Wait, like, together? No. Yes. Wait, what? Water. Hadrian frowned at that. Spencer, on the other hand, didn't even look up from his book. Please, you're not trying to claim you've been oblivious to how into you he is, are you? Well, it's not that. I mean, he did kiss me yesterday, but I didn't know that meant he considered us official. Or together, as Adrian so eloquently put it. I mean, I would consider it like official, but I guess you do have to say things out loud. Are we boyfriend and girlfriend now? Yes. Given that you're her brother, it's remarkable how little you know about your own sister. What's that supposed to mean? We eyed each other when we spoke at the same time. It's been a long time since we did that. It's even more remarkable that despite how alike you are, you're still convinced she's not your sister. That. Are you ready? Marc didn't even let Spencer respond to that. He guided me to the door without so much as looking Spencer's way. The mutual dislike was nearly palpable. I shot Spencer a look as we headed into the courtyard, but he was just staring down at his book, brow furrowed and lips pursed into a frown. To my relief, Allie was already in the courtyard waiting for us. She was bent over and scribbling in what looked like a planner. I already ordered your lunch and something for me to drink. I'll be back in a moment.
You didn't have to do that.
It's already too late to complain. He left me there with Allie. As soon as he was gone, I joined her at the table, grabbing her arm.
Don't you dare leave me alone with him today.
Well, why not? Did something happen? Why not, girl? Don't you want to be alone with your Pookie Boo?
I felt heat creeping to my face again. Nothing much.
She gave me an evil grin and closed her little book. You're turning awfully red for nothing much to have happened.
No, I'm not. Shut up.
I thought you were acting weird this morning, too. What exactly is going on between your two?
Nothing. I mean, I don't know. Stuff.
Allie burst out laughing. Okay, sure. Despite desperate for a way to change the subject, I nodded toward her planner.
What are you working on?
Trying to plan out my schedule for the next few days. Looks like I'm gonna have to limit the amount of time this afternoon, too.
They're working you pretty hard, aren't they? Do you think they're going overboard?
Well, I won't deny there's a lot of work this year. It's not their fault, though. There's been a thing going on.
A thing?
Yeah. Some group of idiots is apparently planning to wake up something that's sleeping under the old mines out by Slaughter.
Something.
It's basically a really powerful cryptic. We, call them ancients.
Well, that sounds disturbingly Lovecraftian. They're trying to wake it up?
Yeah, ancients are, well, ancient. We gathered that from the name, the title, the ancients. I figured they'd be ancient. Definitely pre-modern civilization. Some just kind of float around, watching and never doing anything, which is all good and well. Some have been sealed up or are just sleeping, because that's what you do when you're thousands of years old, and life isn't interesting anymore, I guess.
I'm assuming waking this one up is bad.
Some of these ancients are really dangerous. We're talking end of the world dangerous.
What?
More water. Yeah. Don't worry about it. The agency's already working on shutting this down. And trust me, they do it all the time. Don't worry about it. They're just trying to wake up an ancient monster. It's gonna destroy the world when they do. It's gonna be real angry at all of humanity. Kill all humans and whatnot. And it's like, it's in our backyard. Don't worry about it. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about that, though. Girl. Okay, 1, that's not reassuring. 2, please tell me you're not involved in something dangerous. Nah, there's no way they'd trust high school students with that. It does mean that a lot more of the less dangerous work has been foisted off on us.
That makes my changeling issue sound distressingly trivial.
It's not trivial. Don't even think about that. Don't start with that, okay, girl? Don't even start. I'm just annoyed because I wanted to come over this weekend to hang out. I don't know if that's gonna happen now.
Best friend hangout canceled due to the world possibly ending. What a bummer.
The agency should just let these idiots wake this guy up, then put him back to sleep after he eats them all. No, that doesn't sound smart. Maybe just don't wake him up. Don't wake it up. Don't wake it up in the first place. Yeah, Yeah, they definitely wouldn't do it again then. This sounds like the Milky answer. We're doing that.
Well, they definitely wouldn't do it again.
It's definitely hard to try to end the world when you're in the stomach of an ancient.
Hard seems like an understatement.
I wish they'd at least let me punch one of them for being such pains in the butt.
Pain in the butt also seems like an understatement for someone trying to end the world.
I can't believe I'm a part of all of this now. I can't believe we're sitting here idly chatting about how the world might end this weekend. Anyway, this afternoon I'm all yours. At least for a little while, for some awesome...
Please do not wake up the ancient. It is not friend-shaped.
Yeah, that part. Don't do it. Stop. Leave it alone. Let it sleep.
Not awesome.
Testing. We don't have to go through with it, you know.
No, we need to get it over with before I lose my nerve.
Not that we meet it on any other... We meet the ancient? Really? Are we sure it's not friend-shaped? That's a good question, Sylph. That's a very good question.
Anyway, I'm more concerned about the possible apocalypse. Maybe I should be asking you to teach me to protect myself instead.
It might be temporarily friend-shaped. Sometimes. Esh, would this ancient happen to sometimes take on the shape of potentially a love interest? Does it pose and pretend to be a high school student sometimes? Have we potentially met this ancient before and didn't realize it? Rue has theories. Oh, I can do that too. Right now, even.
It can't be that easy.
You're Fae. You probably do have a talent for magic, you know. I made a face at that. It's the truth, though. Look, try this. She stood and stepped away from the table facing the other side of the courtroom. This is just a barrier-type defense spell. You imagine a wall in front of you, and then use an incantation like shield or barrier. Just something that solidifies the image in your head. You don't meet the ancient on any other route but the one. Ah, now I want to know whose route it is. Add in one hand movement that defines the shape of the wall, like a straight line or an arc. And then you just... She swept her hand through the air in a horizontal line. Barrier, like this. Whoosh, whoosh. Ooh, barrier. I didn't see a barrier, but I could definitely feel something. There was a slight ripple in the air, as if something was directly in front of her. It was strange. There are variations, such as setting up a barrier that also releases a blast of energy to knock targets away from you. Just like The Witcher. Just like The Witcher. It's like, what are his attacks called? Like Ki and Chen and I can't remember. Huh? I suppose she said it more like, huh. But I wanted to drink water. It was still sort of surreal watching her do magic, though not as surreal as imagining myself doing it. Want to give it a try? I don't know, What are you two doing? We both started at the sudden intrusion into our conversation. Dang it! We really need to put a bell on that door or something. Adrian! He shot me a confused look. Hey! Don't see you here, ever. Spencer was, of course, right behind Adrian. They'd been spending a lot of time together, those two, who was standing in one corner of the shade, fumbling to get a pair of sunglasses over his eyes. Spencer gave him a sidelong look. It's not that bright. Bright enough. Not for sunglasses. There's plenty of shade.
Vampires. Sunlight.
I gestured to the clear sky overhead. Ah, I didn't know that was a real thing. I mean, he's not exactly burning up.
They don't do that. They're just sensitive to the UV, I guess.
It's something like that. Oh, now here's Marc. Look at everybody. Hi, everyone. Hello, all of you. Oh, and now he was back and carrying the usual bag and cups from the murder. I suspected things were going to get even more awkward now. It's like we're going to have an intervention. Are you a changeling or are you not? Intervention. He set the bag on the table. What are the two of you doing here? Spencer was curious. He didn't know the door went anywhere other than the library, so I thought I'd show him. We wanted to do this with you not around. We didn't want you here, okay? Because you're going to freak out on us. Hope you don't mind. I do mind. Marc definitely looked like he minded, but he didn't say anything. Spencer stepped into the light and made his way to the table. So, it's not bright light in general, just ultraviolet. All bright lights hurt, but it's the UV that can do permanent damage pretty quickly. What kind of permanent damage?
Trying to figure out how to defeat a vampire, Spencer?
A strange expression passed over his face and he looked away. Oh, yes, that's exactly what he was trying to do. Adrian joined him at the table and slung an arm loosely over his shoulders. He wouldn't do that. Doesn't have a reason to, does he? Spencer looked really uncomfortable, but didn't shrug Adrian's arm off. Where is this? Feels like summer. Allie was watching the two of them curiously, probably wondering when they got to be such good friends like me. I actually don't know. I think it's maybe in the Mediterranean somewhere. That's what I've heard anyway. Anyway, I'm glad you two are here because I, unfortunately, have to run. Where are you going? Again? Yeah. Unfortunately, I still have to check in with Velos about this afternoon's plan. See ya! She grabbed her stuff and quickly fled the courtyard, leaving me alone with 2 vampires and my evil brother. That's not awkward at all. This was definitely going to be fun. This afternoon's plan? Oh, that. Ugh. I didn't want to say anything in front of Spencer. He'd probably insist on being there, and I just didn't want that. Ellie is busy with her internship at the agency, I'm sure you know. I shot him a grateful look. Thank you, you saved me, Marc. He handed me my sandwich in return. Thank you. Adrian made a face at the mention of the agency. What exactly does she do for them?
She's an intern, so she does, intern stuff.
He raised an eyebrow.
She's been vague on all the details. They go around and poke at things to make sure people in the paranormal community aren't eating each other.
Real. That's how she explains it. She makes sure that people aren't eating each other. There's never a 0% chance of cannibalism. Or anyone else. Don't make it sound like we're all terrible. Don't make it sound like we're all terrible. Most of us are just trying to survive, you know. That was probably true enough. It didn't really help me shake the feeling that Pine Hollow had something of a paranormal National Geographic going on, though. The conversation shifted after that. Spencer peppered us all with questions about the supernatural community. He steered clear of discussing fairies, though, for which I was grateful. He mostly wanted to know about the other club members and what types of cryptics were at the school. I listened as well, since I didn't know all of them yet. It had been a long time since I had lunch with Spencer at school. It frustrated me how it felt like we'd just completely forgotten how to interact with real siblings, but at least we could sit at the same table without arguing. Marc, I think, was annoyed that we had other people with us, but I was a little relieved. They left a few minutes before lunch was over, though. Marc and I had a few minutes to ourselves in the club room before the bell. Don't forget that I want you to wait for me before you start the test this afternoon.
I know.
Will you and Allie be doing it here?
Yeah, we figured this is where we'd have the fewest interruptions.
Marc nodded. He looked at me seriously for a long moment. It won't change anything, you know, whatever you find out. Either way, it won't change anything.
I want to believe that.
I gave him a smile and nodded toward the door. Listen to Marc. Marc is spitting truth. He told no lies.
Come on, let's go.
All right, y'all. School was over way too quickly. Are we going to do the test now? Why did it feel like it dragged on forever on a normal day, but today it sped by in a flash? Allie and I had waited until the club room cleared out to break into our stash of collected items. We quickly made our way to the courtyard and carefully spread everything out on one of the tables. We surveyed everything in front of us. This is the most random collection of stuff I've ever seen.
I concur.
Where's your boyfriend?
I have no idea.
She must have sensed that I was feeling pretty jittery about all of this because she didn't tease me about the lack of denial. She checked the time on her phone with a frown. I don't have a lot of time.
Let's just start. He can be mad if he wants to. But I'm going nuts, okay? If you don't just do it.
Okay. Let's start simple. Just cross off the most obvious things. Changelings are usually left-handed.
I'm ambidextrous.
Okay, yeah, so I guess that's a maybe. I don't know.
Me either.
What about darkening of the irises? I shrugged.
My eyes have always been this color.
Hi. Yeah, let's just cross that one off too. Eating voraciously is a no. Being mean and contentious. She gave me a long, critical look. Ha! I guess we'll say no to that one too. You can be nice sometimes. Okay, next is this. She picked up my dad's shirt, which I'd borrowed from the laundry room that morning. Quickly turning it inside out, she dropped it unceremoniously on my head. I sat there, staring at her fuzzy silhouette through the blue flannel, rolling my eyes. She lifted the edge and peered at me. Anything?
Technically, this method was used to keep children from being stolen. It might be a little late, in my case. Also, this smells gross. I had to take one from the hamper. Can we get it off my head?
Allie snickered and pulled it off. I smoothed my mussy hair. Okay, what about the scissors, tongs, horseshoe? I picked up the horseshoe, turning it over in my hands.
I'm actually kind of amazed we even found one of these, but unfortunately, nothing really happens when I touch them.
Not even a tingle?
Not really.
Iron's considered a fairy bane, but I think it only works on some types.
I guess I'm not one of them.
To be fair, we don't really even know how effective any of these actually are.
True enough, the line between folklore and reality seems pretty blurry. Who even knows how reliable these books are?
And what about the instruments? I mean, we couldn't really find bagpipes.
But the flute? Not getting an urge to play, sorry. I don't think I ever played an instrument in my life.
Oh, okay, drink this then. She opens the thermos and filled the cap for me.
That's the milk thing?
Milk, for Milky. Yeah, man, this took forever to find.
I'm just glad
there's lots of farms around here and plenty of people who don't ask questions when you have weird requests. Is it a weird request to get milk? Is it the milk from a strange animal? I took the thermos cap from her and looked down at it.
What was it again? Something like the first milk from a mom cow after she had a baby cow.
Basically, yeah.
That's weirdly specific.
Okay, I can see how that could be weird. Most of this stuff is... I took a sip of the fresh milk and made a face. Definitely did not taste like your typical grocery store milk. Anything at all?
Nope, not really. I don't know what this even is supposed to do.
There's a name for that kind of milk? There is? Colostrum. I just learned something. I did not know that. Yeah, unfortunately, the texts were pretty vague.
Think if we do too many of these at once, we'll cancel them out?
You're not sure how it's spelled? Me neither. I didn't even know that word existed. I'd assume the results would be pretty immediate.
If that's the case, they're definitely all a bust so far.
Time to break out the eggshells.
Oh, I can't wait to see this.
Y'all, I was excited for this scene because I'm like dying to know. I'm dying to know what MC reacts to. She pulled a silver tea warmer out of the bag of items.
That's what you're using?
I couldn't really work out how to boil water in an eggshell. This seemed like it might work. She lit a tea light and set it inside before replacing the lid. Unwrapping a few carefully preserved eggshell halves, she filled one with a bit of water and set it in the center of the tea warmer. What do you think?
Well, I don't think I've seen anything like this before in my life.
Milky says colostrum, the very first milk produced, and has lots of important nutrients. Wow. Ha! Really? That's what changelings say. Do they really, Allie?
I'm pretty sure it's what anyone would say. I mean, when was the last time you saw someone boil water in an eggshell on a tea warmer?
Never. You sure you're not just saying that because you're like 800 years old and have seen trees spring up from the acorns and what have you?
Pretty sure, yeah.
We both looked down at the eggshell in silence.
Can water even boil in that thing?
I think this shell might catch on fire first.
Probably.
I believe I asked you to wait for me before starting this. Hey, we have a schedule, buddy. You're late. The eggshell test is probably one of the more famous changeling tests in folklore. Oh, really? How funny. I love that. I was held up dealing with something else. I don't have a lot of time today. We couldn't wait.
Sorry, Marc. Allie said she's going to have to leave soon.
He sighed. Oh, what is all of this? He gestured to the items scattered on the table. It's witchy stuff, you know, changeling stuff.
This is how you test to see if someone's a changeling.
By boiling water in an eggshell. I suppose it's supposed to work.
But nothing happened. I didn't feel a strange urge to giggle or make weird declarations about how old I am.
But that's good, though. It just means that, well, you're not a changeling.
Or it means the books are full of nonsense.
That part, that's what it means. That could be it, but
still, hopefully this makes you feel a little...
hopefully this makes you feel a little better. I wasn't sure it did. It all felt a little hollow somehow. If finding out a changeling was that easy, why would fairies even bother? Anyway, I really have to go. Let's clean up.
I'll do it. You should just go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine. I have Marc to help me anyway.
Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait to tell Spencer we tried every changeling test we could find.
Short of torture and murder.
And you passed them all. She shot me a grin and ran through the door to the cafe. Oh, excuse me. Oh, hey, that was the lady from the cafe earlier. As she vanished, another person emerged, Kaya, the waitress from the cafe. She eyed me and Marc warily. Sorry, I'm just going on my break. Hopefully I'm not interrupting anything. Not particularly. She stepped into the courtyard and watched me start to gather up all our scattered test items. I dumped the eggshell water out in a nearby bush and leaned to blow out the candle in the tea warmer. Yeah, says Eshberry. The torture and murder are probably the other most famous tests. Man, people came up with some crazy stuff back in the day, like real. Kaya watched me, amused. Worried there's a changeling in your midst? Marc stepped between the two of us, frowning slightly. And what makes you say that? Water in eggshells is one of the most well-known methods to trick them into revealing themselves. She met my eyes and smiled. It doesn't really work much anymore. Nice try, though. I gave her a wan smile. Good to know. She wandered over and poked at some of the things on the table. You tried the first milk one, too? You guys are pretty determined. Well, yeah. She tipped her head back and regarded me quietly as I started to clean up. It must be difficult when all you have to go on are dusty old books with outdated information and half-baked folk remedies. A little bit. I might be able to point you in the right direction if you want. Free of charge. Okay, we have to save it, because something's gonna go down. She just so happened to show up when we're testing, you know, on the testing day. She just so happened to show up right then and there. What do you think, Marc? Or nothing's free, even I know that. Nothing's free in life. Even I know that. And that's especially true when dealing with anything related to fairies. I'm not Fae, just so you know. I eyed her pointed ears. Still, I don't think I'd agree to get pointers for free regardless. I've heard a bit about the murder, including that you always work for a price. I was thinking of just offering some pointers. I don't have to charge for that. At this stage, I don't need pointers. I need answers. Fair enough. Then why not just ask for help and pay me for it? I shot Marc a sidelong look. He had suggested we talk to them. Then our schedules hadn't really matched up. It was a little leery. But Corvin was a part of this group, and if they were doing something terrible, surely the agency would have stepped in by now. Instead, it sounded like the agency used their services as well. What exactly do you usually take for payment that's going to make people warn me away from asking you people for help? What we ask for depends on what you get from us. Payment has to balance out with the services rendered. It's like alchemy or something. We don't ask more than what someone can pay, but sometimes we ask for more than what they're willing to pay. That's not hugely encouraging. Does this mean you're going to request my firstborn or something? No. Just for giving some advice, the payment wouldn't be steep. She eyed my backpack quietly for a moment. You have something interesting in there. I do? I can feel it. I pulled my backpack closer and opened it up. Partially dumping the contents on the table, Kaya picked up the portfolio with some of my drawings and paintings. You're an artist? Yeah. What about one of these as payment? Oh, sure. That's all she wants. She opened the portfolio and quickly went through the drawings and canvas boards, pulling out a small one, a white-haired horned woman in a bed of shadowy leaves. Is that's the fae, that's the changeling, or the fairy, the other one, that's the other one. That's the other one right there, from the vision. That's the one from the vision. From the dream in the beginning of this playthrough. I'll take this one. If, of course, you want my help. Can you help me? Maybe. It depends on what you want. But I think I can at least offer some insight. I used to be a changeling too. Used to be? What? Drink. That's quite the revelation. I was completely floored by that revelation. 2? Oh, I hadn't even caught that she'd phrased it that way. Are you implying that Rue is, in fact, a changeling? The R is pretty unmistakable to anyone familiar enough to process to recognize it. Wait, you're saying I am a changeling? Just like that? We'd done all those stupid tests and I'd passed them all. And now she is waltzing in and saying I was a changeling like it was nothing. My legs suddenly felt all wobbly. It was Marc who pulled a chair out and helped me sit. I stared at the array of weird items scattered on the table. A rumpled shirt, milk, iron shears, eggshells. We'd done all of that to prove I wasn't a changeling, and now... So, there really is a real Rue out there somewhere? And I was just a fake. A real what now? She laughed. I glared at her as she took a chair and leaned on her elbow, still chuckling. It's not funny. If I'm a changeling, that means that somewhere out there is the human I replaced, right? She's the one that really... My voice faltered and I swallowed hard, trying to steady my voice. She's the one that really belongs with my family. That's a really old school way of looking at it. Though, given where you've gotten your information, I can't say I'm surprised about that. Perhaps you should stop dancing around the subject and simply explain what you know. Fair enough, but let me ask you first. What do you know about changelings? Well, what I've read, they take a human baby and replace with either a fairy baby or an adult fairy, or a log, whatever. The human baby grows up in fairy, while the replacement stays with the family. And there are supposed to be ways you can force the fae to return the stolen child. I waved my hand at the table. Clearly, those don't work. That's not to say there was never any truth in them, but fairies aren't stupid. The same tricks won't work on them forever. I guess that's true. That part aside, the changeling process is a little more complicated than books would have you believe. Complicated in what sense? Look, let's go inside. I don't want to talk about it out here. Fairies don't like their secrets revealed, and I don't know who might be listening. I shot Marc a look, but stood. Okay, let's do it. The warmth of the cafe and reassuring smell of coffee, the sounds of traffic beyond the glass. All of it was a comfort, as Kaya led us to a table at the back of the cafe. Entering from the back felt a little different from entering through the front of the store. It was difficult to pinpoint, but there was something different about the atmosphere. It was quieter for one. There was also a subtle thrum of energy in the air. Magic, I suppose. We slid into the seats and Kaya gave me a solemn look. Okay, the first thing you need to know is that there is not another Rue out there somewhere. But you said... If I'm a changeling, then it means there was a baby who was stolen. That's true, but she rubbed her head. Listen to me. Why do you think fairies take human children in the first place?
I don't know. The books were vague and contradicting. Some said it was to use them as servants. Others said it was to use them for breeding.
Kaya just shrugged. It's all just the same thing. Fairy life force is weak, and every generation is born weaker than the last. If they don't rejuvenate their race with outside blood, they'll eventually die out. So they use humans who have far higher vitality. Exactly. Humans have short lifespans, but their life force is very potent. Exactly what the fairies need to keep their race strong.
Okay, I get that much, but what does that have to do with there not being, well, a real me somewhere?
Many years ago, fairies stole children and didn't replace them at all. But because human parents are protective of their young, and because babies don't just wander off on their own, of course they tried to find the missing children. They would inevitably raid the fairy hills, invade all the secret places of the fae to bring their children home. Fairy hills. Somehow that sparked a strange sense of nostalgia. So to cover their tracks, fairies began to replace the babies with changelings, the elderly, or even their own babies, who would return to fairy on their own someday. But tell me this. How good do you think fairies are at acting human? I thought about Brenna and all her strange antics. Probably not very... Exactly. The glamour wears off and they're discovered. Or they behave strangely and they're discovered. See, Brenna was the cat girl, remember? She's all meow, kitty cat girl. Humans are resourceful. They devised all sorts of ways to trick the fae into revealing themselves and having to go home. And if that failed, the changeling would surely fall victim to abuse and murder. You read that in your studies as well, probably.
Yeah.
If the changeling dies, the fae are obligated to return the stolen child. The fae take a double loss. They had to come up with a way to prevent all of that at all costs.
And how did they do that?
There's one type of magic that the fae possess, which very few others have perfected.
Are you really going to make me keep asking for more details? Not to be demanding and all, but could you just get on with it?
Real. Kyle laughed at that. Soul transfer magic. They have the ability to transfer souls in and out of bodies with ease.
Soul transfer.
Exactly, Snacks. Just spit it out. What better camouflage could there for a fairy changeling than a human soul to hide behind? So you hide behind a human soul. Does that mean you share a body?
I'm not quite understanding what you're getting at.
They took your body and left your soul in the body of a fairy. The body sitting before me right now. It is body snatching. Body snatching fae. You're saying that Rue is the changeling and the human child at the same time.
Exactly. This actually might make sense when you consider my sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking? I'm assuming you're not referring to a normal sleep disorder.
I wish. But no, it's not like that at all. It's more like... Well, I started waking up outside in the middle of the night, which had never really happened before. It started right after we moved back, or so I thought. Then I sort of found out from my brother that I've been doing this for a long time.
He'd been aware of it the whole time but never said anything? I know, he's trifling. Don't get me started on my twin brother.
Yeah, that's kind of a long story in and of itself. Anyway, I guess what really bothers me is that I typically become aware that I'm dreaming while it's happening. I can tell I'm moving around or walking, but it's like someone else is controlling my body, and I'm just wrapped up in darkness, being dragged along. That's the Fae, isn't it? That's the Changeling. That's the Changeling. When we're asleep, the Changeling is using our body and walking around. It's walking around. Spencer wasn't wrong. Nora is an imposter, but Nora isn't wrong either. She's not an imposter either. Ashberry! Oh my gosh! I've been dying. I have been dying for months to figure this out, to know the secrets. The secret has finally come out. Literally, I've been dying. I have been dying for this moment right here. Right here. Even if I try to stop myself from moving around, I can't. Then whenever I wake up, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I suddenly snap back into my body. When was the last time this happened? I don't really know. Allie helped me find a way to keep me in my room at night. But I think I'm still doing it, just staying inside. Ash is like, also, I'm just saying that Spencer actually did tell people, he just wasn't believed. I do remember that, but like we didn't know. I didn't know what the answer was, okay? I didn't know. Sounds like the Changeling has been trying to take control at night to get me back to Fairy, to get back home, to her home. Anyway, most likely. But why? I mean, I understand the camouflage thing, but that doesn't seem like it should be much of an issue these days. When a baby goes missing, I don't think most parents are going to rush out and go find a fairy hill to raid. True enough. But the soul transfer had an unintended consequence, one that turned out to be quite beneficial to the Fae. You see, humans who live in Fairy for long periods are changed by the exposure to Fae magic, and after a while you can't really say they're human anymore. She gestured to her own ears, which came to rather distinctive points. Pointy ears, I can kind of tell. You can see the problem. If fairy magic changes us outwardly, it can change us internally as well. The longer we live in Fairy, the weaker our life force becomes. For children who grow up there, by the time they're adults, they've lost nearly all the human vitality that made them so useful to begin with. But kidnapping adults comes with its own problems, and they nearly always find a way to escape. The fairies realized that by keeping the human souls here in the human world, even if they were housed in a Fae body, they would keep their human vitality without becoming tainted by the impurities the way human souls often do. The end result? When they finally transfer the soul back to the original body, is near perfect salvation for the fairy race. Life force with all the purity of the Fae race and all the vitality of the human race. I shot Marc a surprised look. That had been almost exactly what Adrian said too. Are you all right? I don't know, but what happens to the human if that transfer occurs? If the return is successful, what happens to the human? What happens to Noru? He seemed strangely guarded in a way that he hadn't been in a while. I couldn't blame him. I was feeling pretty anxious at the moment as well. What you're saying is that right now in this body with me is one of my kidnappers. I can't even wrap my mind around how they think this is okay. It's quite generous from a certain point of view. You have your childhood with your family. You have your life. And then you get to live in Fairy. You have your lifespan extended. Learn magic. Yeah. Because that makes it okay to steal my body, rip me out of it, and shove me in a different one. Oh, and let's not forget about the time they attacked my brother and blinded him. Yeah, I'm touched. Super grateful for that generosity. I clenched my jaw
and took a deep breath. She just wakes up in her normal body, which is trapped in fairy. Then she marries some hot fairy guy. That's what happens to her. Oh.
How do we undo this? If they're planning to return me to my original body, that means it's still somewhere alive.
Without your soul and mind, your body is more like a puppet, an empty shell. But yes, it's alive and being well cared for in fairy, no doubt. But to break the contract? Fairies don't just steal children, they get permission, sort of. Not that the human family would recognize it as giving permission. And in your case, we don't know at what age you were stolen. Even if you were old enough to remember it, those memories were likely sealed. So it might not have been at baby time. It could have been when she disappeared those couple of times when she was younger, like when she was 8. That could have been it. I frowned.
Spencer might know.
Without knowing the exact terms of the contract, you'll have to rely on a more general method of breaking it. And unfortunately, that's a bit of information I was never exactly given. Wow, Kaya has been pretty awesome with all of this information. All for a painting.
I just can't get over the fact that fairies can create a contract with a child, then erase their memories of it and just get away with it.
Unfortunately, Fae are largely unregulated by the NPRA.
Maybe they need to start being regulated. I was kidnapped and then had my soul moved into another body like some kind of demented version of musical chairs. Do you even know how much this has screwed up my life? Do you even know how much my family has suffered? And I don't even know why. Spencer was right. It would be better if none of this supernatural stuff even existed,
I said, while sitting at a table with whatever Kaya counted as, and a vampire, who happens to be my boyfriend. Real. Ugh! The word slipped out before I even realized what I was saying. Unfortunately, it does exist. I understand why you're upset, but that isn't going to help.
Fairies are horrible.
You won't get arguments from me on that. There are some Fae in town that might be willing to help you out. Ewan's father. That cat who lurks around your school. Brenna? I don't know. We can see if Corvin can unseal your memories.
Corvin?
He's part of the murder as well.
Yeah, but he's kind of,
Corvin is the wizard guy. He's a mage. Corvin is a mage. He's more adept than he seems. But you should know that having someone go through your memories is a bit
invasive,
to say the least. I'm almost getting used to having people run around in my head at this point. Looking at you, Marc.
I'll consider it as a last resort.
And William and Adrian. That's a lot of people in my head. We're saving it. You know what? We're gonna ask Marc what he thinks. What do you think about all of this, Marc?
Marc, you've been really quiet. What do you think of all this?
I'm certain you'll find my opinion on this matter irrelevant.
If I thought it was irrelevant, I wouldn't ask.
Nevertheless, I don't think it matters. Why? Is it a negative opinion? Why don't you want to tell us what you think, Marc? You better spit it out. I frowned at that response. What did he even mean by that? If I thought he was irrelevant, he wouldn't be here. Besides, he'd been pretty opinionated about everything happening with no apologies at that. I bit my lip and turned back to Kaya.
What are the chances of me getting away if they manage to get me back to Fairy?
Eventually, pretty good. Immediately, not so much. If you want to continue the life you have now, your only option is to break the contract before it's too late.
Too late, meaning before they get me back to fairy?
Too late, meaning before your soul becomes permanently rooted to that body.
Is that a thing that can happen?
Bodies are only meant to house a single soul. The burden of carrying two is pretty intense, so the body compensates by trying to force the souls to merge. It's a long process, but if you've been in that body since childhood, it's probably already begun. We can have Merle take a look when he gets back if you want.
He can tell?
Probably.
No, I think I just need to clear my head for a bit.
I stood and gave her a weary smile.
Thanks for your help.
If you have more questions, just ask. As long as it's only more information, the price you've paid will suffice.
Okay.
Wow, we learned a lot about ourselves today. We learned a lot. I wasn't ready to return to the courtyard yet, so I had gone out the front of the cafe, and Marc had followed. We were walking silently down the sidewalk together. I was still trying to grasp the absurdity of it all. If that had never happened, Spencer and I would have never drifted apart. We never would have moved in the first place. I never would have gone missing like that and disrupted the entire family. Spencer's eye wouldn't have been hurt. Kara wouldn't have been hurt. I might even still be friends with her. Forget Kara. Kara is rude and mean, okay? Kara is nasty and mean and rude. I remembered every single fight with Spencer. Every moment he'd been nasty to me, and I knew exactly what sort of pain and frustration were fueling it, and that he had every right to be wary and paranoid and anxious, feeling like that all the time had taken its toll. Wow, I was suddenly intensely aware of all the things I'd lost because of this. It was so infuriating. If that had never happened, I'd have never joined this club, and I wouldn't have to deal with things like drifters and fairies and vampires. I stopped and stared down at the sidewalk in front of me. I'd never had gotten the chance to get to know Marc at all. We'd probably still be total strangers. I didn't like that either. I'm glad to know that I was in there somewhere. Stop being intrusive and reading my thoughts. A pity I'm a part of the paranormal community you wish didn't exist. It was the first thing he said since we left the cafe. He took that hard, didn't he? That's why he's like, my opinion doesn't matter. I'm not telling you what I think. That hit him hard when we said that. It hit him. Reading my mind again. Damn it. That's not what I meant. Stop reading my mind. I think it's normal to have mixed feelings about this. Ugh. Damn it. That's not what I meant. It's a fight, y'all. We're gonna have our first, our second, our third fight. Our third fight. Damn it. That's not what I meant, and you know it. Pick a fight. That's what I'm doing, Milky. I chose violence. I'm fighting this man, okay? and then make up time. Exactly. Fight and then kiss. Isn't it exactly what you mean? So, you're gonna hold my thoughts against me now. My head's a mess. I'm still trying to just wrap my mind around all of this, and you're gonna get mad at me for one stray thought? That's not fair. This is the first real one that isn't just bickering and snarking. It's our first lover's quarrel for real. That means we're a real couple, yes. That's not fair.
And I don't need this right now. I have bigger things to worry about than if you got your feelings hurt from eavesdropping.
I winced inwardly at my tone. I wasn't eavesdropping when you said you'd prefer it if the supernatural didn't exist. That was something you felt the need to broadcast verbally.
I said that in the moment of frustration. You know I don't feel that way.
Moments of frustration are often when our true feelings come through the clearest.
You're being ridiculous.
So are you.
I'm not the one judging your every thought. You act so damn superior. Given half the things you say, you're telling me you've never once, even for a fleeting moment, thought the world would be better off without humans. I don't believe that. You're such a hypocrite.
You are just a normal human, just like the rest of them. You may be masquerading as a fae, but you're just a human at core. Helpless, prone to getting involved in things you shouldn't, and then blaming everyone but yourself for the consequences.
That isn't fair.
It is fair. You're placing all the blame on the fae without stopping to consider what you did to initiate the contract in the first place. And then you go on to blame the entirety of the supernatural community because you've been inconvenienced.
Inconvenienced? Is that what you consider being held prisoner in another realm so I can be used for a broodmare? Is that what you consider being attacked and blinded the way Spencer was? Do you think my parents are going to feel inconvenienced when they lose their daughter for good this time? You're pretty damn quick to disparage humans for their tendency to get into trouble. But what about your tendency to trivialize what they go through because of some supernatural community? Why do you act like it's such a problem for us to react negatively to all this? Where's the fairness in that?
It's not fair. Life isn't fair. Isn't that what your people always say? It's not fair that we can't live normally because people like you can't stay out of our affairs either. He turned away, clenching his jaw. This is why I hate humans. It's only fair when it favors you.
I didn't say that. I can't believe this. A few hours ago, you cared for the point of badgering me about not doing this without you, and now I'm suddenly in the category of people you hate, just because you think I'm a normal human.
That's exactly what you are. Just like I'm part of a society you wish didn't exist.
You know what? Fine. Go ahead and act like I'm the unreasonable one. Sulk because I've gotten a bit frustrated, and yeah, definitely hate me because now I'm just a troublesome human. You're right. I don't want anything to do with you or the rest of this either. I don't even care anymore. I stalked away from him. He caught my arm before I got far.
Where are you going?
I yanked my arm out of his grasp. Home. Now let go.
It's dangerous.
Well, since you hate people like me, I guess that's not much of a problem for you, is it? If something happens, you'll be secure in knowing you were right all along, and I promise I won't blame anyone but myself.
Storming away without worrying about the consequences is just what I expect from you anyway. You always expect the world to step aside so you don't get into any trouble, regardless of your actions.
We have choices. We have choices. We have decisions to make. I was really into that scene, y'all. I was acting. Yes, I was. Okay? I couldn't respond to the fighting in the chat. Eating popcorn and laughing with bow faces. Exactly. Throw your book bag at him or storm away without oh no, I choose violence. Violence! Throw your book bag. I hurled my book bag at him with all the force I could muster when he said that. I didn't ask for your damn opinion. I spun around and fled angrily down the sidewalk at a run. When had I ever done that? When had I ever expected everyone else to let me do what I wanted without consequences? I had never done it. I had made mistakes, but not because I wanted to be careless. Tears were stinging my eyes as I ran, more out of anger and frustration than anything else. I ran for at least a block before I finally slowed to catch my breath. I gripped a lamppost, doubling over as I breathed heavily. The chilly air burned my throat. "Are you okay, dear?" I straightened immediately at the sound of the voice, a little embarrassed at the thought that someone had seen me running down the street like a lunatic. Also, I need my book bag for school, real. "I'm fine. Just getting a little afternoon exercise." "Yeah. You're alone today." "What?" I looked over my shoulder and stifled a startled scream when I saw who it was. It's her again, I had a feeling. The old woman from the other day. Shoot. And of course, I had to run into trouble the moment I was alone. What if she's nice? What if she's actually, like, okay? Maybe she just looks scary. I turned slowly, leveling a determined look at her. Oh God, what's about to happen? What do you want?
Oh. I just wanted to thank you for helping me the other day. Yes.
Sure, y'all. Do you think she's okay, or is she gonna be nice, or is she gonna try to chomp us? Because she waited till we were alone and in distress. I took a few steps back, unsure what to tell her. I didn't even really help. The woman smiled, a smile that did not look friendly or at all thankful. Milky says chomp. Giambi says what Esh said. Popcorn intensifies. I'm getting nervous. She did not smile friendly like. She reached a gnarled hand toward me as she watched me with those strange black eyes. I reeled backwards to avoid her hand. Yeah, what I mean is what you're about to find out hasn't been keeping track of your score. I have not been keeping track of my score. I don't know what's about to happen. Things are not going well for me. Am I about to get a bad ending? Oh God. Oh God. Something's about to happen. Milky gets it. Tentacles and dead fish. Oh God. Oh my God. No. I reeled backwards to avoid her hand. The heel of my boot caught in a low spot in the sidewalk, and I nearly lost my footing. The woman's hand raked through my hair. I took off at a run, hoping she wouldn't follow me, and hoping she was just a drifter that would find her way out of town after the weekend. Girl, she's after you. To my relief, she didn't follow me. I stopped just past the last buildings of the town square, my chest aching and burning from the cold air. Oh, God. You think I'm going to miss the ending? I've been lucky twice. I missed it? Dang it. I didn't do badly enough. You've been very kind. Very kind. It was then that I noticed a white streak in my hair. I picked up the lock to examine it. I just missed this one. Oh, okay. Did that woman do this? I was glad it was on the underside where I could easily cover it, but what the heck? I felt like I'd read something about that.
Something about a tree spirit that left a white mark when it touched you, and if it touched your heart, it would kill you. But on the head, it would only inflict madness. Jeez, I'm glad she only got my hair. Fairies sucked, all of them. I hadn't done a damn thing to that stupid woman. I shivered and started walking quickly toward my house, trying to stay alert in case she came back for round 2. Y'all, it's hard to get bad endings in this, actually. I'm finding it difficult. I have not had a game over yet. I reached the bridge in the neighborhood before I took another break, even though I sometimes make dumb decisions. Or oftentimes. I was glad we didn't live too far from the town, but after that encounter, I was wishing we lived closer in. A 10-minute walk wasn't a lot usually, but it felt like an eternity when you were worried some creepy lady was gonna jump out of the bushes and assault you again.
Yes, my pretty, come closer. Let me take a little bite out of your heart. Let me grab and reach out to you and destroy you. I will kill you. Yes.
That could have happened, but it didn't. Not today. Not today, Satan. I think that sometimes what you think might be bad and wrong choice is actually the correct choice in this route. Oh, see, it's because I like trash. I gravitate to trash. Okay, Milky, you asked for it. You asked for it. Throwing the book bag actually gave me a positive point. Now I wonder if I should go back to that scene and pick not and storm away all upset. Esh wrote for trash decisions. That's true, you did. You knew that you're gonna have trash people reading this. Okay, I have a feeling this chapter's almost over, and then I'm gonna go back and do the other thing and see what happens. Not all routes, but Marc likes Nora when she's a bit feisty. That's why me and Marc are a good match, okay? He likes it when I'm a trash diva monster. He likes it. He likes it when I sass him. I paused briefly to lean against the railing and look out at the fading light reflecting on the trickling water. Today sucked. It did. On one hand, the changeling thing was unexpectedly settled. At least insofar as now I knew what I was. I still need to figure out how to solve the problem, though. I guess I should be grateful I had some direction. That's what I was going to focus on the next few days. And other things. I was just gonna not think about. I spun around, glaring at the driver who dared honk at me when I wasn't even on the road. Oh, Spencer! He pulled to a stop and rolled the window down. What are you doing? Nothing, just watching the water. Right. Marc gets hit in the face with a book bag, and then he liked it. I opened the door and hopped in without asking. Sorry, I walked today. I'm tired. You walked? Yeah, I walked. We rode in silence the rest of the way and he didn't ask again. I spent the evening texting Allie to update her on what had happened. I had left out the fight with Marc, at least for now. I was trying to not think about it, but it was hard. I was so used to hearing from him before bed that I couldn't help but notice the specific lack of text before bed. Oh, how sad. We have regrets because we got in a fight. But as much as I wanted to mope and be upset about it, I just kept telling myself I had other things to focus on. With luck, all of this would soon be over. We finally have confirmed that MC is indeed a changeling. And we made out with Marc. Yes, we did.